Okay. Oh, I forgot the music. Okay. Hello and welcome to Movie Crap Live. Can I hear myself? Hey, yes I can. How are you doing all tonight? I will send out the cornbread reminder things. Did he do it before? I'll just do it. Maybe. Oh, he did it. Thank you, cornbread. Hello, cornbread. Jordan Salafalo, M Blood Tea, Purple Goop. I saw Nathaniel Foga up there. Ramsey the artist. How is it going? Ramsey our second, I think, first person here tonight. But thank you all for being here. Good job. Oh, thank you. Good job. Thank you for the encouragement. I don't know if did I say M Blood Tea? If I didn't, M Blood Tea, Purple Goop, Ramsey artist, cornbread. Pup is here. Hello. Welcome to the show. It's been 2 weeks, so we have a lot to talk about. Let me switch the thing here. Hi, how's it going? We're hot out the kitchen. Why is this? No, okay, hot out the kitchen. Um, uh, Tonight, and yeah, it's sort of a packed show. We'll see how it goes, how we're doing. Um, but there is quite a few things to talk about. But how have you? Oh, hello, Jortunes. But it's good to be back doing the show. It's been all sorts of shit happened. Happy Gilmore too. It got us. Man, I watched the first Happy Gilmore again for the first time since the '90s. Whoa, Nathaniel Fogo, look at you. Awesome. Thank you for noticing Felix the Cat, George Slavo. I watched. Maybe this is not the greatest way to start a show, but I didn't even think to talk about it, to be honest with you. But I watched the first Happy Gilmore because I don't know if I'm not going to review two, or I thought about reviewing one, but there's always stuff to do. Hello, El Vasquez. But I rewatched the first one, and although there are some parts that are legitimately very funny, I forgot how bad the filmmaking is in those early Adam Sandler. I was like, this is like, what was going on? Like, Jesus. It was like, I don't know. I was not a fan of him in the '90s as much as everybody else because the filmmaking was so bad, and I was really into filmmaking. But like, I forgot. Uh, uh, Thanks, Corbin. I was just like, whoa, this is. I thought it was gonna be like better, like I missed something, and then I watched it and went, whoa, it's funnier. I was being a pretentious shit when I was a kid. It's funny, but like it is like really badly directed. I was like, whoa, how did this come out to be funny? Anyway, whatever. This is indeed going. What I like that everyone's adding. Anyway, sorry. I like the alligator. They're like Carl. Like there's a lot of great performances in it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Anyway, so Fantastic Four was great. No Paul Blart though. Um, you can still be an auteur, Ryan. Doesn't mean you're good if you're an auteur. That's the distinction. Anyway, Black Sea. Nobody guessed it from what I saw. Although I didn't. Anyway, someone did this. The tweet or ski can't say 10:33. So earlier, I got the blue raspberry. Wait, where's my sorry? Blue raspberry ghost. I could have gone to Celsius because they're having that high noon controversy, but I chose not to since I don't want to get drunk on the internet on live. That seems like. I also read the guy who wrote the Starship Troopers book, despite his controversy, he was true. I didn't know what you're talking about, but it did make me think of Subway. I was like, oh, that's a cool Subway shirt. Anyway, hold on. Let's get up to Bloxy because Bloxy, thank you for the first super chat. And I said, Solving next for it was great. No Paul Blart though. I agree. No Paul Blart. He could have been in. He could have been Mole Man. Paul Walter Hauser's taken all the Kevin James parts. That's what everybody. That's what people should be saying. Cheers to you, Bloxy. I don't know if I've had this one before. That's interesting. All right, Nolan, watch that for me. All right. I was covering the loop. I was very proud of the fucking loop. Um, uh, you got all the Subway. I haven't been to Subway in a bit, but I've Anyway, did I tell you about the time that the people at Subway thought I was Muslim? I don't. Anyway, I've had that one before. Thank you. There needs to be a. I might do a at the end of the year do a cut of every energy drink I've had on Movie Crop Live. That would take a little bit to put together, but I think it would be worth it. Is Paul Blart just Richard Jewell? I mean, huh? In a sense. But hey, Javier Bartello, hey, Pi ZK. I think you know what? I haven't had Jersey Mike's. I really want to. There's never one around me. Hello, Super Dusky. I'm very curious about, and they have Danny DeVito. If Danny DeVito is your spokesperson, I'm down. Except for the Lorax movie. Now I haven't been to. Must such a laugh, make me laugh. Anyway, hello Dan, how's it going? Um, uh, wait, did I not tell this story? Did I not tell this story? I'm getting the impression I did because everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" Okay, okay. So basically, if you didn't, if you didn't know, I'm surprised I didn't tell this story. It's like a funny story. Um, I go to like the subway near. If I've told this, someone correct me. I'm a little surprised. I've not had Firehouse subs either. It's all like those are never around where I work or. I need to find a Jersey. I think there's one near me, and I have to like go to anyway. So I go. I've been going to this same subway forever near my job, and I pretty much always get a tuna. So I like tuna a lot, and you can't really take. I usually take my lunch, but you can't really take tuna. Um, oh fuck! I didn't know that, Dan. Happy birthday! Holy shit! Happy birthday, man. That's awesome. Oh, thank you, cornbread. See, I thought I had, but anyway, yes, I never order anything other than tuna and turkey. So they assumed this one assumed I was Muslim. Everyone told me it was the beard. I'm like, no, it's she had a little more to go on, but anyway, she brought it up again that she lost $5 because of me because she bet someone $5. I was Muslim and I was not. So I did afterwards say, if I see him, I can say him if you want. But she said, no, that's not cool. Anyway, sorry. I'm never sure. Like, you make enough of this stuff. You're like, what did I say? Where? What's a? All right. Uh. Anyway. Um. What was I gonna say? All right. So yes, I was on a family vacation. It was awesome. We were at this house in Virginia Beach, which was nice. Jersey Mike's is only for Kevin James movies. Is that an upgrade or a downgrade? I'm not sure. But cheers to you. Cheers to you, Blacksea. Two super chats for Blacksea. I'm feeling honored. Cheers to you. We had a good time. It was awesome. Um, thank you, Sir Dusky. But the best thing, seeing everybody was the best thing, honestly. But they had like, because we had to get this big house to get all my brother and sister and all the kids and stuff in one place, and my mom had to get this big place. And in the one room, they had um arcade machines, and they had like X-Men, Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam, and Simpsons, for different units of One Up Arcade or whatever, and then those had games in it. So I played X Men, the classic, prior to the X Men one, and they had Captain America and the Avengers, which I think is only an NES game, and then Avengers Galactic Storm, which I'd never heard of that before, and that game kind of sucked, but I didn't play very much. But it was really cool. But yeah, my son Oscar got into probably the X Men because they were all like, "What is this from? What is this game from?" And I played in the pilot, so that's why I was suddenly like tweeting. Like I rewatched it and I was like, "Man, this is a great, um, it's a great cartoon, but it is a terrible adaptation of X Men." I was also like, I know there was talk of like perhaps people don't ask um, celebrities good questions. If I was to ask Hugh Jackman a question, I'd be like, "Could you read the Australian Wolverine's lines from Pride of the X Men?" Like I would like have them all ready and go, "Oh, she's just a kid," and stuff like that. That was maybe Scottish, but anyway, Pride of the X Men is still like great cartoon. Not yeah, not a good X Men adaptation. Anyway, the other, but yeah, we had a good time. Did mini golf. I think there might be a kind of short Virginia Beach memories thing because it's very hard to film with the kids. Um, no, to be honest, if I was gonna get an arcade thing, I might get one of those because you can get multiple games. But the kids have fun, and I also found out my daughter's good at fighting games, which is interesting because they didn't want to play Mortal Kombat because it was the scary game, and then they did, and I was like, oh, you're like, so I need to get Super Smash Brothers. So, but that was a lot of fun. We did 3D blacklight 3D mini golf, which is a real thing. Apparently, I didn't know that. I can't think of anything else from that, but it was cool. Also, the other thing that I wrote down to talk about is I showed Flow to my kids, and that was interesting. I think it was more like weird for them because there's no dialogue and it is a bit of a strange movie. But over afterwards they said they liked it, so I think success. But I'm glad I showed them because I was when I retweeted that uh what was it that thing about Fahrenheit 451 or read somewhere posted about how like this guy. I mean, I remember that in one of the movies. I was actually might want to read the book again, or did I read the anyway? About how the main guy reads a poem and it makes a woman cry because she realizes her life isn't as fulfilled and stuff. I do think it's important to show people. I think with kids you can't really do that all the time because then it would make they that's not going to work, and it's not fun to play uncomfortable stuff all the time. But I think sometimes it's worth playing something that like makes you think about stuff. And I think that's actually important. I know people don't prioritize it. They prioritize just making people shut the fuck up when they watch stuff. But I think there's deeper meanings, and I was glad to show it to them. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a little too deep or something like that. So anyway, sorry, but I was like, I don't know. I'm glad we did it, but it was a few tears at the end because of a certain character or certain animal. But other than that, it was good. And they afterwards they were more like we're glad we watched that. So I felt good about that. Okay, sorry, that was long and all that. Let's um yes, I'm trying to actually once we get past the summer, I'm trying to come up with a better upload schedule. And this is sort of part of two things because I sort of Saturday I was working on the Superman the newer review, and it was really late, and I was like, I can't put this out. I'll just put it out Sunday at an earlier time. And I kind of saw it because Cornbread at the time was like, hey, I actually like it that you upload early. It's kind of nice. And so I am starting to think about like earlier on Sunday if I have something done, I can because I'm usually pretty tired on oh, hello, my yellow butterfly. On Sunday, I get like the Sunday sleepies. So, but if I have something done, so I might try to do it like earlier on Sunday night and like make a better schedule. But I don't think that'll fully be in effect till in the fall. But I'm just letting you guys know that I've been actually working on that because I'm starting noticing like what my energy level is for the week and stuff like that. But I do think I'm pretty sure the review of the Fantastic Four cartoon will be this Sunday because I have a lot of that done. But it's just I don't know. I'm trying to make this work a little better, and I feel like I'm like onto something, but we'll see. It'll probably fall apart, but I'm gonna try. That's what I'm gonna do. Also, another thing with that, and I'm gonna mention this. I want to mention this before. Oh, I watched 43 Mark. Oh, movies. I was confused, but hey, that's cool. I don't know how many movies to watch, but congratulations, Caleb Wilson. If you do, I did notice that when Corbett said that, and I mentioned when was it Zodberg mentioned about the lights and stuff. If you ever have a suggestion, please let me know because I'm sort of by myself here working on stuff, and either the Discord suggestions or you see in a chat, maybe not the show because there's a lot going on, but like a comment or something. If you do have a suggestion, do not don't be shy about it because often suggestions of people who are like they don't want to hear it, they can hear it. I was actually just hearing today about how Eminem had never gotten a criticism about his flow um, until like a producer like way late in his career, and he like really enjoyed actually someone giving him something negative and like having to improve on it. So always give people suggestions. My ego will be fine. The most I can say is like I can't do that or no or something, which is fine. But I'd much rather you voice it. I just wanted to leave that because I've noticed like there's a lot of changes I made for the better because of you guys. So I don't want to I want to just say thank you, people who have, and if you would like to, please do so. If you just want to DM me or something, but the suggestions on the suggestions for Jim Discord channel is a great place to do it. I just wanted to set that out here because I really appreciate it, and it is actually very helpful. And it's actually how I learned about the segment tonight and other things and other ideas, and it just helps. So I just want to say that. And yeah, anyway, um, let's move on. All right, so this and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through super chats during the show where I'll drink this amazing energy drink here. That's we'll put that there. The amazing energy drink, um, right there, I guess. And and I'll read your suggestion. It'll help me be able to do what I do and stay awake. Although I feel okay, but just in case it is late and it's been a long day and all that. Or my Patreon, where you get all sorts of cool stuff like postcards, which went out recently, but will go out again soon. My commentary series, where you get all sorts of commentaries from both my videos and Knock Force and all sorts of stuff. More power in the movie review vote, and all sorts of cool stuff. So it very much helps me to continue to do what I do, make flyers, stickers, promote. I probably need a new mic because this mic sounds is not sounded as good as it used to. All sorts of cool stuff that you help me do through this. I hope the mic does it sound weird to anyone? I think it does, but let me know. But all that, if you're financially able to do so, and I very much appreciate it if you can. It really helps the channel grow and helps me and all that and helps me be able to continue to do this with that. And but if not, just subscribing and liking actually does help. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Turn on notifications if you would like to have notifications on. It also helps, and you'll know when new videos come out. And, there's instant premieres and all sorts of cool, and the notification stuff like that. But if you're just watching this from an account and you're not signed in, you're not sure you're going to subscribe yet, thank you just for being here. I really appreciate it. PyZK, I do know about that. I talked about that earlier. Also, the Discord, which is run amazingly well by Ryan Walterson, Cornbread, Austin, and Zane Powers. They do an amazing job. They have all sorts of stuff like movie watches every week. You can talk about movie news, video games, I think probably all sorts of cool stuff. They're watching The Naked Gun. I was watching that the other day. Cornbread does thumbnail predictions, which I hopefully will get to sooner rather than later. All sorts of cool stuff as well as license playing card things. I'm still using the Star Wars ones. I think I might be getting new ones soon. We'll see. And all sorts of cool stuff. It is a wonderful community. I always get compliments on my Discord and this audience. And if you like everyone in the chat right here, the Discord, it's all the best of that on the Discord. So join that if you would like to do so. I forgot to mention the throwbacks. I'm trying to only do 2 a week. We had I forget what we had before Pixels. We have Pixels this week, and what is what I forget what's this week. Anyway, we have something on Sunday, and I'm sure it's really good. I'm sure it's a great throwback. Don't worry about it. Anyway, quick thoughts on Training Day. I finally watched it. Jortunes. I have not watched Training Day. I really feel I watch it so much on cable. I feel like I watch it. I feel like I need to really watch it. I like Training Day. First off, cheers to you. Cheers to you. Um, I like Training Day a lot. I think the big thing about Training Day, um, which I gotta say, the smartest because Anton Fuqua is a little inconsistent as a filmmaker and all that, but I do think I heard an interview once. I probably mentioned it on a stream or a podcast or whatever, or Ethan Hawke. If you watch him and Denzel, he actually watched a bunch of Denzel movies and came up with a way to work with Denzel because if you look at most actors, they either try to counter him, other than him and Viola Davis and stuff. Uh, yeah, the Jim. I like the Letterbox Jimmy guy. So he actually like found the best way to play off him as an actor, and it's really interesting. Even if you see him on in that what was it Magnificent Seven remake, he's still like not playing how everyone else plays off of Denzel. He's very smart about it. So I think a lot of appeal of that movie is Ethan Hawke knowing how to play off Denzel and Denzel clearly respecting that as a performance stuff. And the King Kong thing's great. And I need to rewatch it. It's been a while. It's been enough that I'm always like I would like to rewatch it. But anyway. But yeah, it's a cool movie. It's a cool movie. Denzel deserves even more Oscars than he had. I'm a little surprised he doesn't have more Oscars. To be honest with you, if it was up to me, he would have won for Malcolm X and maybe Fences. He definitely deserves to be in that conversation. Anyway, all right. First thing I want to say, Comic Con. Man, it is not what it used to be. Holy shit! Like, it used to be, I'd be like glued to my phone, like, oh shit, who's gonna be in this? And like, what about this? And like, I think this is the year that it was like, oh man, it is. That Galactus looked cool. Like, it was just like not coming through. I was just like, holy crap, it fell off pretty tremendously. I am noticing like the independent creator thing with conventions is blowing up more and more, probably because like we need it, and David Cornsret, and although James Gunn was there and he got a standing ovation and stuff, they don't need it as much as they did 10 years ago. So it is interesting seeing that change. I was like, I think we'll talk about some stuff from there, but it would usually be before this would be the Comic Con show, and I don't think that this is the Comic Con show at all, and I don't think you want this to be the Comic Con show. But that is a wild how San Diego has fallen off so much, wild. But I think it's also there's a lot more conventions, and also the corporate ones were never really letting the little guy in, and I think we're gonna see that change. If you ask me, but I've never been to San Diego, so what the fuck do I know? Yeah, that's cornbread. That's true. That's true. All right. So before we get into other stuff, I'll say the Zootopia 2 trailer. Um, I thought it was good, but I do feel like a lot of it is like uh sort of like here's another one. It wasn't distinctly different. Part of me is like, is here's another one good enough? If it's just like better than Moana 2, we'll see. The snake thing they didn't really get into as much. I am curious, like I do feel like there's gonna be a trailer to be like, here's what's different. And instead it's like here's the same thing, but it's been a while, so you should be into it. So I am by the way, hey Ryan Walters, how's it going? I don't know if I said hey, but Ryan Walterson, the GOAT. Um I meant that because he likes the movie The Goat. That's I was referring to the movie. No, I don't know why I said The Goat. Anyway, Ryan's great. Sorry, I apologize. But it was an interesting trailer. But I'm like, so they're already having problems. Like I don't know. I am curious because I always felt the first one was 48 hours. The movie. If this is how close this is to another 48 hours, I probably should have reviewed 48 hours when the first one came out, and then I could review another 48 hours when this came out. But they didn't do that, so I don't know. Maybe I should just read 48 hours. Walter Hill rules. But it is just like two guys yelling racial slurs at each other. And I was like, man, in the 80s, that was a hit movie. Now, that's just not okay. Like, they don't do that in Zootopia, unfortunately. Maybe in 2, it'll just be them yelling racial slurs at each other. I think that's really what we need. That's what we need in our Zootopia more. Anyway, whenever I compare it to 48 Hours, people go, really? And I'm like, it is the same thing. It's just not as many. Zootopia does not have as many racial sources. I need to stop saying that as 48 Hours. They don't. Anyway, let's not talk about this anymore. So South Park. Let's talk about all the South Park shit because there's a lot of different South Park shit. And we're just going to condense it all um into one thing because it's like the chef thing and the episode and the deal. So I'll go in sort of some order. And then we'll talk about Colbert and how I feel about that. But how the deal originally was going to work is it would be $1 billion for Paramount Plus, and they would get 10 years, and then we get $1 billion for HBO Max, and they would get 10 years. Meaning that Paramount would gain money as well as the South Park creators. Um, but what happened is the spike. The whole thing with the merger is super interesting because I think these guys think they're really good at like like the was it What is going on here? Okay, sorry. Um, I think the people running the merger here. Okay, Jesus, so many pop-ups. I can barely read this article. Well, during the whole merger thing with Paramount, I think the people. What the other company is it? Spyglass? No. Skydance. Sorry, with Skydance, I'm sure someone in the chat is doing it. In this analogy, is Judy Hopps Nick Nolte? Yes. Thank you, Cideram. There you are. Cideram's the only one who. I guess so. It's not a perfect analogy. Let me say that. Anyway, um, so originally with Skydance is they were going to gain money. HBO Max left the party because the deal was getting stupid. Because in addition to the deal, Trey Parker and Matt Stone wanted additional money for their development deal to continue because they only had 2 years on it and they didn't want to sign a 10-year deal, and no one would want them to sign a 10-year deal if they don't have a deal with the studio to make more episodes beyond 2 years, which that makes a lot of sense to me. Paramount seemingly was like, no, we'll get in the middle of this. And instead of just doing the deal they had in front of them, which would have gained them money, they um, lost HBO Max somehow, and then also ended up paying them more, and they're only on Paramount Plus, and it's for 5 years. Originally, they did want to cut it down uh, to 5 years on HBO Max too, but they lost that. Now they do have exclusivity to Paramount Plus, which I guess is a thing, but I don't know. So in the end, Trey and Matt actually are ending up the only one who win monetarily, at least for now. Maybe Paramount Plus will be the biggest streaming service in the world. I, I don't think that's the kind of deal you make in this economy now, but okay. And so they made that deal. And then the rumor was they very much were like, hey, we pay you like $100 million a year, although arguably more now. Um, could you make more than 10 episodes? That was always the rumor. And they're not doing that either. So I love that they were like, we need to get involved in this, and ended up making a tremendously worse. Like, there is Paramount. Like, I just, anyway, I find this whole deal hilarious because it's like you could have done nothing and done better, but you had to do something. It's so much worse. Sorry, it just makes me laugh because it's like, what, why did you even get involved? What, you could have just said sure, and you, whatever. It's just funny. I don't know. Well, we'll see. It's just like, wow, okay, all right, good. You did something, I guess, or you feel like you did. The other thing, obviously, is the episode. The episode, Spice and Disguise say when. I don't know. But anyway, when Skydance, that would be cool. But the episode that came out, which I have watched, is basically portraying Trump as like Saddam Hussein from the movie, sleeping with Satan, all this stuff. I thought it was a good episode. I do kind of question a lot of people. The political nature of South Park has come under question a lot of years. I do think their cynical thing of like, you know, everybody's wrong sort of thing. Sometimes I don't love as much, particularly when I get older. I do think 2 billion going. Jesus, cornbread. That's crazy. Uh, there has been a lot of questions with the political nature of South Park. I don't think it is. Some people get very weird about the politics of that show. I don't love the idea of like everybody sucks. Sort of why try anything thing that South Park does push sometimes. Um, and I do often question like how political they can. What politically are they actually doing? Because I do feel like this was more to fuck over the Ellisons who run Skydance, who love Trump a lot and are friends with him, or is it to fuck over Trump? Or, I don't know if I believe as much the how they've like ruined this generation politically and stuff that people say, but I do question is like, I'm because the second episode hasn't come out yet, and I know they were never supposed to have an episode this past week, but depends on who you ask. But anyway, I do think I am curious if it's like it didn't politically really say anything other than Trump's a tyrant, which isn't the craziest thing. I think the most political that really made a lot of sense is the movie. But I am curious. Uh, oh, okay, cool. Thank you, Caleb Wilson. Um, I guess. Well, anyway, that good info. But I am curious like where this goes initially. If it's just sort of going to be another uh uh I don't know how the season's gonna work because I do feel like sometimes the season openers, like what was that one where the crabs people were metrosexual or something? Like you can get real bad ones, but then you can get like the taco pooping ice cream Norman Lear season. So it's like I am curious to see where it goes. But I do think like I was in Virginia Beach and like everybody was talking about the show and like irregardless of what I feel politically, like as showrunners, they definitely showed their fucking value. I know Trump said the thing about like, oh, it's not even relevant anymore. As I said in the last stream, I discovered that it is actually like I was like, oh, they're like older creators and they're like demanding all this money and they'll price themselves out eventually and like all this stuff. And then I was like, oh no, I'm actually fucking wrong. They should get paid. They're doing very well actually. They, they're so yeah, I do think I don't know. I like the episode. It's not an AI Trump. They filmed it. They showed the filming of it. I know like some people thought because they did that stuff with they helped with their company did the Kendrick Lamar video with the faces and stuff. But I think that's more of not AI. I think it's a different sort of thing. But whatever. I like the episode. I like where we are now with it. But I think the funnier thing was how they think they're really smart and they ended up fucking up that deal so tremendously. I think that's do you detest grammar Nazis? Me? Yes, because I can't spell worth shit. I would say I'm bad at smelling. Hello, hey, Gary's here. Um but anyway, I think what they've done so far is funny. I'm curious what they're gonna do with it, but I will say like they're sitting on the fence thing. It's also like and I thought this when I was watching the Casa Bonita documentary. I was like, these guys are so ridiculously fucking rich that it's like you probably could be doing a better job and your viewpoint is like how I don't know what their net worth is. It's probably insane because they're still so involved in that show and stuff, but it is like I don't know. I notice that never comes up, and I'm like, even with Castlevania, they're like, I'm spending $30 million. I'm like, bro, you make 100 mil every year to do, you know, 20 weeks of work, if that. I don't know if I feel that bad for you. So I don't know. It is interesting those guys, but I do think it's cool. They've got everybody talking. We'll see where it goes. But we'll see. But I do think I don't think that's going to go away. I don't think anyone's going to fuck with that deal because if we're talking about shows that make a lot of money, that is they're not going to get rid of that. You get rid of South Park, Paramount would honestly I think what might even collapse. Like it's just like you would majorly take out. It's like taking out a support beam or something. It is probably one of their most valuable properties, and I'm not trying to be. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. Next up in Skydance Paramount News, the Colbert thing. So I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, you were wrong. You changed my mind." Not really, but I will acknowledge how I feel about it. And Samantha Bee pretty much said in an interview how I felt about it. Is that I do think the Colbert Show would have probably been canceled within the next 3 to 5 years because those things, the late night shows, are far too expensive. Daytime shows, different story. Those things make money. Late night shows don't, and they spend a lot. And I know Colbert's been on the defensive, like, oh, we're number one. How would I lose $40 million? What? I'm confused by that. Anyway, how do they win 40 million? How do all this stuff? But honestly, like these shows, like if you watch them, they have huge staffs. He has a very nice studio that they renovate all this stuff. But it's just like late night shows are not getting huge ratings. They're not getting a lot of attention, stuff like that. So it's just I think that is the main thing. I know when the WJ launched, asked for an investigation of the Attorney General, was it New York or in general? I was a little like, okay, is there something there? But it's been like that happened right after the show last week, so it's been about 2 weeks. I get to see concrete proof that it was like, the Ellisons went to Trump and said cancel Colbert. Trump has never mentioned Colbert. To my understanding, it's been a while. Um, uh, oh, sorry. Um, but I do think as of right now, what I think honestly happened is they were looking at things that aren't making money for them, and they looked at the Colbert thing and they said, "You probably have like 5 years left. I don't know. Maybe we could figure this out." And they probably just went, uh, "Well, what if we like just cancel it now because I fucking hate this guy." That's honestly what I think happened, and that's uh Oh no, he said okay. First off, Gary, he said he was glad he was canceled. But I'm saying before this, he didn't really. It wasn't like he was talking about Colbert all the time. Maybe he was. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm just saying like afterwards, when people were sort of blaming him, he was like, "I'll take credit for it." But before this Colbert thing, I never really heard him mention it. But what Samantha Bee said is basically like these things are burning money, and she thinks they just were like, this is gonna end soon. Let's just get rid of it, and that's honestly what I think happened. It's like they looked at it, we're like, I don't really like this show. It's costing us a lot of money, and then you know, then it was over. So I do think that's what happened. But like even Seth Meyers, who's a show that's my I love that show actually. I have it on all the time. But that's very much getting its budget cut. Thank you, Caleb Wilson, and all that stuff. So I think we're going to continue to see. I think in the next 5 years we will see Seth Meyers go. Just based on that, I know when he didn't get that Emmy nomination, it really scared him. Everyone who works on that show. I think that show's probably next after Colbert, and I don't know what's going to happen with Fallon and the Tonight Show. But when Lauren Michaels leaves, I'm very curious what's going to happen to late night. Maybe Seth Meyers is being saved by Lauren Michaels, but I don't know. But Lauren Michaels said he's going to retire at some point. When he does, I'm really curious. That's going to be, but I don't think all we have late night now. Um, no, a lot of people have, and I think the suspicion is warranted to a certain degree. I'm just saying I don't have proof of the suspicion, so that's what I'm operating under. If you look at the Skydance thing, it makes total sense for what they're doing right now. It's not like a crazy thing they did, but I do think I just don't see it as a viable financial decision. Like if I was them and I was buying Paramount, I'm sure I'd be like, dude, we got to figure out something with this late night show. And part of me is like, well, I do kind of wonder, did they say to him like, hey, like how Seth Meyers have it is a lot cheaper, could we do something like that, or could we, one thing I don't understand all these late night shows should do is what brought Johnny Carson more in when he was on Pluto. And there's definitely a spike in understanding that show because he had a channel that just played his episodes. And I noticed with all the late night shows when they'd have similar like what are called fast channels or whatever on Pluto, or just have a like the chilled cow person constantly playing Colbert episodes. They would play clips instead of full episodes. But seriously, like if I'm the person who's trying to make more money for Colbert, put that on YouTube, put that on Pluto, and just play episodes. You can play them in order or something. Who the fuck cares? But like really, like that's a great way, and especially that people. I've noticed I've seen more Colbert shirts and stuff come out all the time now. I do think part of that is because of that. And it's like you have this momentum, use it to your advantage. But I notice a lot of these late night shows aren't doing that, and I think they have the staff to get a lot of this shit done. So, like, anyway, I do think there's ways they could do it better. They are on YouTube and all the various services and shit, but like, they could do a lot better with that show than they're doing. And I think also, you look at that show, but I will say, I watched the episode the Monday after all this stuff. Um, uh, I'm with you. I'm Gary. I'm very much with you. I would much rather like a weirder late night show. I grew up with Space Ghost, so but I watched the episode on Monday, and that was actually I could barely get through an episode of that thing. It really sucks. I wasn't really into it at all, and I really liked the episode. It's the first time I ever liked an episode of that show in like a very long time. And I saw like half of one another, and it was also good. So I do think like this gave them the kick in the pants to like actually make good television, which is actually nice for once. Um, but we'll see. But I don't know. I wouldn't mind if like they took Colbert out and like put something weirder at 11:30 that was really cheap. You know, hey, give me a desk, man. And, you know, I'll do it for you. Anyway, but I'm still under the. We'll see. Two Avatar news, one from one and one from the other. One is James Cameron's talking about this. He mentioned Animatrix by name. That he wants an Animatrix about the Avatar stuff. Under basically mentioned Animatrix and how you can fill in the gaps and stuff. As I've talked about before, and I've noticed like people, not a lot of people are talking about this, but studios are interested in doing animated spin-offs because like also when you sell like let's say Lord of the Rings to Pluto or another streaming service, you're like, well, what if I sold you seven Lord of the Rings? You're like, seven? What are you talking about? There's seven? Um, incoming desk? Oh, so that's funny. Like it's the Superman Lex Luthor thing almost. Um, so but it is like a real thing. Studios are looking into it. They're all probably gonna be cheaper animated things, but they're good streaming play and stuff like that. So uh I do think it's interesting that he is mentioning Animatrix, but I'm sure Disney would do it. Look, I'm curious how Eyes of Wakanda will do, but we'll get into that. We have a whole trailer section tonight, so but I do think it'll be cool there. The other Avatar news was that Zuko, was it Zuko? Was Reek? Hold on, I didn't write down the right person, so I want to make sure. But there was a recasting that I found very odd. Yeah, so basically they're recasting Zuko with um Stephen Yen from The Walking Dead. I don't understand this recast. I don't understand the whole like let's have the thing. Okay, here's the thing with celebrity voice casting that everyone gets this shit wrong here. And everyone goes in this weird thing about, oh well, Jeffrey Katzenberg really liked Cass, and that's why he didn't do that shit because he liked Cass. He did that shit in Shrek, which then made everybody. They're always doing Cass stuff, but like everybody fucks this up. Is because at the time Cameron Diaz, Eddie Murphy, and Mike Myers could open movies, and that's why he put them there. And everyone fucked that up because they went, oh, but if you have celebrities, no, nobody gives a shit. Like I said before, I don't watch Transformers movies for Judd Nelson or who isn't Robert Stack in there. Like nobody, like it's kind of neat, but like nobody cares. You know what I mean? And like if you're talking about budget and cost entertainment, unless they're a huge star, like you know, you could say Transformers One they tried and that didn't work out, obviously, but like unless it's someone who can open a fucking movie, do not cast a celebrity. What that is an unnecessary cost. You're just throwing money away. Nobody gives a shit, you know. If like who can open a movie? It's like Scarlett. Honestly, I would say Scarlett Johansson. That didn't work out, but like there's almost no way um to do that. And I don't understand it at all. I think it's a stupid move. Unless he said no or something, and like this guy's like, I'll do it for cheap or something like that. But to me, it's like it's an unnecessary cost. And if you're people are always talking about cost on entertainment, you shouldn't be doing it unless you get a huge star who will make people come out for it. You know what I mean? And if you're not, you're just like, what are we doing? I think the idea of Aladdin and Shrek has gotten lost in the translation because people were like, and then they wanted celebrities because they could go on talk shows. No, they wanted celebrities because they would bring in money. And if you're not bringing a celebrity who brings in money, you're fucking it up. Like I just don't understand. I don't understand it to be honest. Like I think it's a stupid move. But anyway, sorry, rant over. I probably mentioned this before. I should probably make one of those dumb videos about it, like a essay or something. But until I do, that's how I feel. Let's talk about Marvel's future, which has been coming up a lot this week. Oh, I should mention. Sorry, I always forget this on the super chat thing. If we get to $20, I will have the lights get all flashy and stuff. We're not there yet, but if we get there, I will do the flashy light stuff. By the way, sorry, just to send that out there. Oh fuck, I didn't watch that trailer, Nazi 2. Damn it. I watched a lot of trailers and that's the one I forgot. Um I mean I didn't watch the see the dub. I think the dub thing, as I said, I think it's dumb to be honest with you. Uh, no, I don't. I just don't. Unless there's someone who can bring in butts and seats. Like someone mentioned Taylor Swift, sort of. She hasn't really shown. Hello, the cameraman. She has not shown that she can do that outside of her own like concert movies. But like people who generally can, I would say like sure. Like who's that? Like I think Jack Black could. I think like I would say Scarlett Johansson because she does get butts and seats. But I think voice acting wise that wouldn't work out as much. But like yeah, Jack Black maybe even Tom Cruise or something. But like it would have to be like somebody like huge, you know what I mean? And if you're not doing that, like what are you doing? Anyway, oh no, I'm not holding. I don't have a vape pen. Sorry. All right, we'll talk about Marvel, and then I'll talk about the Wizard of Oz sphere thing, so you can get angry at something. I guess. But Marvel's future. So this has been coming up a lot. First off, Marvel doesn't have a movie coming out till next summer. I think it is exactly a year to today that it we get Spider-Man Brand New Day. So no of the Marvel movies until then. Just a bunch of shows and shit. Um, wasn't she in Transformers One? I'm like fairly confident she was. Somebody back me up on that. Anyway, so we're not getting any Marvel stuff for a year. I know people will say there's too many superhero movies. We got three this year. I think we're getting two next year, and I forget the deal with that. However, here's some things they are working on: Black Panther 3. They're saying it's a priority. Things that are not a priority, Blade, because I don't. Okay, and then after that, Deadpool 4, which that was actually surprising since the last one did so well. However, we also learned one that Robert Downey Jr. is really rich and is going to make a ton of money. I think we actually knew that, but okay. The other thing was that they want to get younger or less experienced actors with X Men because it will cost less. Like fucking duh. Uh, like I think that's a no brainer. I also think it's like one thing Hollywood blockbusters aren't doing enough is like one reason I was pro the Little Mermaid. I mean not I don't think it was great or anything. She was not in Transformers One. Hold on. We're gonna settle this debate right now. Transformers One. Well, I didn't get to see the credits, so who was it then? Oh, I see her right here. She played Alita One. I no, you're looking up the. I'm talking about the okay, I see it right here on the Googles, and this ain't the AI thing. I'm gonna click on the Wikipedia. I'm not letting this go. I want to see. I want to see it triple confirmed. Ew, Akiva Goldsman was writing it. Why? Ew, gross. Yeah, she's the third listed under Brian Tyree Henry, but it's Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, Keegan Michael Key, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Fishburne, and John Hamm. Anyway, and I saw. I didn't see all of it. I saw it. Whole. We don't need to get into that. Anyway, um, yes, that is basically they're trying to trim costs, which you knew for a while. Apparently, they did have a meeting. This got less reported with Gareth Edwards. Is that it? Who directed? Is it Gareth? No, Evans did Raid and Edwards did other stuff. Anyway, the um apparently they met with whoever directed the creator to talk to them about making special effects cheaper because he made that for under $100 million, and that is it's impressive. That's why it got all those Oscar nominations. Apparently, I've heard several productions met with him to bring down special effects costs because none of them knew how to do it. And this is the guy who did it from um, his laptop with monsters, which is like, yeah, you should, you should be doing that. So apparently they are trying to do that, except for like uh, um, yeah, I don't know, but they should be doing that. But I don't know. We'll see. Or yeah, except for the Avengers movies, which are going to cost like 300 million each, or probably more. But it is kind of interesting what's going on with them. I think they're trying to refigure it out. It's also interesting that even though they're going to have two huge movies next year, like I don't know what the whole release schedule is next year, but I don't think I'm being crazy if I said Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday could probably be the two highest grossing movies of next year, right? I mean, I think at least top five, they'd both be in the top five most likely. So, I do think that is going to be they're still pretty huge. I don't think Marvel's fallen off as much as people think they have. They're just like spacing shit out so you don't notice them. But anyway, if you were sick of the Marvel movies this year, you don't have to hear about them for a year. The other thing was that the what's going on with Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars was that they rehired the Loki writer creator Michael. Why is it, man? Some of the my spelling's so bad. Sometimes it spells things out in very weird ways. But we learned that the creator, I think, is Michael Winslow, has been rehired, even though he was fired from Kang Dynasty, which was the original Avengers title, and now it's a different thing. So he's sort of fired from a different movie, but not. But now he's been rehired, and the shoot is going on so long, no one, and the script's not done. No one's sure. Like Rebecca Romaine said, she's not sure if it's done or if she's coming back or anything. So it's, which I think is very funny, how this is all shaking out. But anyway, it seems like a bit of a mess. I hope it works out. But as a lot of um, I will say the one of uh well, one of the things every movie press person brings up, and I think it is bears repeating, is when people hear reshoots, they go, "Oh, this movie's gonna suck," and that is like a general, like, broad feeling. However, as people have pointed out, and several in the superhero thing in the last couple of years brought up, if I were to report on Star Wars, and I said, "Hey, there was," and this is like 2000 and oh, sorry, it's 1976 or something, I'd be like, George Lucas just did a sneak preview of his movie, and Brian De Palma laughed at him as he left and made fun of him as they had dinner later. You'd be like, oh shit, that George Lucas movie's gonna fucking suck. So just like, it really doesn't matter the quality of the movie, and if you have to do reshoots or fix something, don't feel ashamed about it, because like Wizard of Oz, this is a good transition for you. Wizard of Oz had a terrible production. Star Wars had a terrible production. Jaws had a terrible production. So I would say keep that in mind. That doesn't mean it's going to be bad. Usually it does, but that doesn't necessarily mean it. Sometimes Casablanca didn't have a finished script, and that's one of the greatest. Now, not every one of those movies that has a problem is Casablanca, but I'm just saying, just like, let's be a little. But anyway, oh, hey, cameraman. I like that name, by the way. All right. The Wizard of Oz sphere thing. Let's talk about the Wizard of Oz sphere thing, because I do. This is something I really want to talk about because I don't like it. So I don't know if you're aware of the sphere. It's a really cool. I know, Juan Don Natty. Also, hello. You are right, but I'm just saying it's worth repeating sometimes. Um, Sometimes it works out. Most of the time it doesn't, but sometimes it works out. So if you aren't aware of the sphere, it's basically this big thing in Vegas. It's a sphere. I've talked to a few people who've been there. Apparently, it's really incredible. If you see a band with all the visual stuff, I do actually like projected things like that. Like I'm a sucker to buy a ticket to something like that and be wowed by it. However, seeing the Backstreet Boys and seeing cool videos go around is one thing, because they perform lately. Or I heard the U2 show was really good, and I liked looking at videos of it, and I thought that was really neat. However, they are going to. I knew they were going to play Wizard of Oz, and I thought, oh, they'll just play it and it'll be like curved, because like it's like a curved thing, or they'll play Dark Side of the Moon after. Like I really thought that was it, but apparently they're making like an AI special version, and like putting in focus things that were out of focus, and changing a lot of cinematography decisions, and like doing AI things with characters who were off camera, and like all this bullshit. And I think the other thing about it is the person who is helping behind it and helped report on it and was positive about it was Ben Mankiewicz, who is one of the hosts on Turner Classic Movies and is Hollywood royalty. Like his grandfather wrote Citizen Kane, his dad wrote maybe Superman or something. I forget. But anyway, I think there's more than 14. I think there's like a lot, but maybe like the original series. Is like, I forget how that works, but I'll just say you're right. I don't want to debate a thing I barely know about. But um, but basically they've changed it to fit the sphere. Ben Mankiewicz, and this is part is actually true. There is only really one sphere, and this will only be played at the sphere. It will not be playing anywhere else, really, which is like, okay, I don't know. To me, it's like, don't use AI to fuck up old movies. I don't need things. I colorize, by the way. None of that shit look good. If you can't look at a black and white image, you don't deserve. Like, I don't understand that at all. I mean, I like watching old movies, And part of films, and I know like Disney fucks with this, like they color correct things in weird ways, and like Lucas fucks with this, and even Chaplin tried to fuck with this back in the day by putting narration in silent films. But like, I don't mind if you make a new version and let the old one exist to an extent, but to me, this is like really atrocious and like not understanding what made The Wizard of Oz special. And it's one of the greatest films ever made, and probably one that helps the filmmaking medium be like it's. I don't know. To me, it's like maybe the greatest film ever made, and I think it's a film that like has inspired so many people across generations and gender lines and all that stuff. And to me, it's like really upsetting to see that, especially Ben Mankiewicz, someone who's been like kind of the ambassador to Turner Classic Movies, particularly after Robert Osborne died, and for him to sort of sell out for this and he's trying to like defend it is fucking bullshit. This is not The Wizard of Oz. If they made a Wizard of Oz 4DX experience, I'd be okay with that because they're keeping it. Um, they would keep the movie the same and all that stuff, but like, and they are doing some of that. And I thought it was going to be the movie with like that stuff, or even be the what was it, the Screen X experience where they fill in the other. I thought it'd be like dumb shit like that, but like for them to change it and like, I don't understand what that's adding other than being nitpicky. It's like when you one thing I've noticed when you talk to film people, and I'm sorry I won't spend too much about this. Pissed me off a lot actually. I think it is like probably. I actually think Ben Mankiewicz should be fucking fired for this bullshit. Like I I don't know. My opinion of that guy is permanently lowered. That he is endorsing this at all. Like I don't. A lot of people are like, "Do you have shares in the thing?" Like it is. It really puts a stain on his legacy. The fact that he did this, and I honestly, if I think he should be ashamed and probably leave the classic movie space. To be honest, like I would just please leave if you're doing this shit. Like give it to someone else. Like this is just not what the future of filmmaking is. And people who say you need to get on the side of technology, you don't have to do shit. By the way, if you're like this sucks, like don't do it. Like this whole thing, like I don't want to be left out of Facebook. Who the fuck cares? Facebook sucks now. What was the legacy of that? Like, fucking idiot. Sorry, it really like pisses me off. It's just like I just don't. Anyway, I just don't think it. Anyway, sorry. What I was gonna say is, I notice you talk to people who are more on the tech side of filmmaking and don't understand the history, and they'll always say something like, "Well, I understand acting wasn't as good back then, or I understand cameras weren't as good, so it's not as good as like a movie now." And I always look at that and I'm like, "The fuck." Like if you look at older stuff and think like, wouldn't this be better with a 4DX, like oh, it was in 60 frames, it had this and stuff. Like you go try to make that movie, that's fine, that's art and conversation. But if you're fucking with someone else's thing in that way to think you're going to film better than one of the greatest accomplishments that the filmmaking media has ever done, then I think you've lost the plot. Like understand film history. Like if you are watching movies and you know you don't understand film history, you've lost the conversation. Like film history and animation history, all this stuff, that is the conversation that will always be going on before and like well after we're dead. That is the conversation. But if you have left that to show that this is prettier, then that is a rich people aesthetic thing, and it is not an intelligence thing. That is not a creative thing. Just because you have a nice shirt on doesn't make you smarter. And I think people misunderstand that a lot. Just because you look nice doesn't mean you're smart. It just you have fooled them to believe you were smarter. But that does not give you actual intelligence. And the people that are pushing these things do not love film, do not love art. They love spectacle only. And I just think it is a real embarrassment. And like, I'm sure there's lots of filmmakers who make current movies who probably would work with you to do that. Like a lot of filmmakers very open to working with the various technologies and a lot of formats. You could have done that, but you really fucked that up. So anyway, I'm sorry to be so negative, but I hope I don't see Ben Mankiewicz outside. That's all I will say. Not nice things to him. And before I thought he was really cool, but this is like I don't. Robert Osborne would never, bro. Robert Osborne would never, and we all know it's true. All right, in both cool news and sad news, thank you, Letty. Sorry if I got. All right, K-pop Demon Hunters. Let's get to the other thing in the thumbnail here. Sorry, we're running out of time and went on about that. We learned today that Netflix is mulling two sequels. Yay! And it has not. I want to tell you, this is what sucks about animation now. They're talking about two sequels. You're like, awesome, a stage musical. I guess, man. And then they're like, in a live action remake, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is being discussed. We didn't even make it out of the summer. It's not even August. It's barely been a month, and we're already hearing this. No, we don't want this. I understand Netflix content is king, but how about just please do not make a live action? Nobody wants this. Horrible. Sequels, absolutely. I think that would be great. I wouldn't even mind like a different K-pop girl group spin-off thing. That's fine, but don't rush the production. Spend I think the Sony stuff like when it's really hitting, like please take your time with it. But the fact that like this was an announcement today and this of a like a present animated film is really distressing, and that's like how executives go. And a live action remake. And I'm like, how about no? But at the same time, and we'll talk about it later, the first movie to cross $1 billion in 2025 was Lilo and Stitch. So it's not exactly like we they can't argue that people like it, but at the same time, I fucking hate this shit. But I do think uh I mean, I don't mind a tour and stuff like that. That's like a different experience. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Or like if they want to release a concert, like film a concert of them doing the songs, that's fine. Because they're gonna have to figure out something for the Oscars if it gets nominated, which I hope it does. I also, yes, just release it in theaters during Slow Flow. I am 100% with you. But it is depressing. It does suck. We'll see what happens. I hope it gets at least 2 Oscar noms for animated feature and song. Knowing our luck, it won't. But let's hope. Okay, we're gonna go through some non. Where are we on this? Okay. We learned that there's going to be an attack. We have like a half. Uh, Everyone was joking about running along. I like that everyone did it early, so now I feel I need. You know what? I know on the Discord there's a gym movie movie crap live bingo. I've been saying forever. I need to print out a sheet and just hit them all and not say anything. I need to do it. I've been saying it forever. I'm not sure when. But good point, Gary, about the live show that How to Train Your Dragon did for 12 or so. Yeah, that's a good point, man. Um, but yeah. Anyway, where are we? Okay, so we learned that there's a lot of rumors of an Attack of the 50-Foot Woman remake. This has been talked about for a while, but it seems I know Tim Burton was involved, but supposedly, Margot Robbie would star as like the 50-foot woman part. Um, I think that could be cool part. It's not. I'm gonna be honest. Like I've seen that movie and like it's not a good movie though. So I wouldn't mind if Tim Burton. That seems like a thing that he would actually be into. I just don't want him to be AI crap. I want it to be more Mars Attacky, and I hope Margot Robbie brings that out of him. But we'll see. I think Happy Chap, her production company, would be involved. I think it'd be cool if it all comes together. We'll see about that. But to me, honestly, I'm a little hopeful. I hope we get more of Frank and Weenie than like the rest of the stuff he's done recently. But yeah. To talk about the Michael Jackson biopic, it is now coming out on April 24th, 2026. The reshoots, as we talked about, because they shot a movie and then found out it legally violated a thing where the accuser, I guess, could not be portrayed in media or anything, and they realized they fucked that up, and then they had to refilm it. Although I would argue, if I was their lawyer, you did do it though. You just didn't release it. I would love to see the legalese of this because it's like you can't do it. They did do it, but is it you can't release it? I'm curious about that. I would sue him anyway. Just sue him anyway. This movie's not going to be good. However, however, apparently they're talking about a second movie, but right now there's no real date for it. But they say it's in development. But Lionsgate is being a little weird about that. And supposedly there's like 4 hours of movie basically, but they're going to cut it down to a releasable length. I don't think a Michael Jackson biopic is a great idea, particularly if his family's involved. I think I love those songs and I love the Quincy years with Michael Jackson, but I do think it is from the Treasure Training Day. You're right, Plenty. I do think it's a dice move. It's also like Michael Jackson um is a very cinematic, big character, and it's like, how are you going to? I have a lot of questions about how they're going to do it. Supposedly, it's like his nephew or something is playing Michael. I'm very curious about how they're going to do it, and I think it could be a big hit, but we'll see what's going to happen there. Um, if anyone wants to, I guess I'll just say, if any super chats so I can drink my energy drink, that would be appreciated. All right, so we learned about the Social Network sequel casting. First, we learned that Mikey Madison, who is going to play the woman who leaked what was going on with the conservative Cambridge Analytica stuff or whatever, and then Jeremy Allen White will play the reporter um, who wrote about it for the Wall Street Journal, I believe. For a long time, a lot of reporters were saying there's no way Aaron Sorkin would make this movie without Jesse Eisenberg already wrapped up. We'll just get that casting soon. Almost everyone was like, this Eisenberg casting's coming out soon. It just hasn't happened yet. They're just announcing the other people, but they'll announce Jesse Eisenberg. And then it came out that they're talking about Jeremy Strong from Succession. Jeremy Strong, I believe it is. And I don't really know what happened with Jesse Eisenberg. To me, I would get Michael Cera. You couldn't get Jesse Eisenberg because that Arrested Development sequel joke where he was playing Mark Zuckerberg because they look him and Jesse Eisenberg sort of looked alike and stuff like that. So I think that would have been a better thing. Nicholas Hoult would have been cool, but there's a lot of things they could have done. I don't know, but Aaron Sorkin directing it and Jeremy, it just like, and I know he was in that that 60s whatever it was called. It wasn't that great. I understand where they're coming from to a degree, but I think this is a bad idea if you can't get Eisenberg because you're essentially sort of trying to make a sequel without the same cast. Like, is Andrew Garfield going to show up as a cameo? Like, I just feel like you got to do something um, like that. But like, it's just that casting. I don't think rubs anybody the right way. I don't think it's anything against him, but like, you should have just pony up for Eisenberg. Like, it just maybe he said no. I'm really curious, like, what the deal is with that, or if he was asked at all. Guess we'll find out on the Now You See Me 3 or Now You See Me, whatever it is, press tour. So, yeah, I didn't even watch that Being the Ricardos thing. That just looked fucking shitty to me. We'll man, yeah, we're running long. There's no way. Chris Sanders is back for Lilo and Stitch 2. He's actually writing it and going to be Stitch. He's also developing a Wild Robot 2. I don't think he helped write the first one. I'm pretty sure, other than he probably got a created by credit. Um, I don't know if that's yeah. Hey Daniel, how's it going? Um, I mean that's probably true. Um, MBT about. I mean, yeah, I think Sorkin is not Fincher, but Fincher's not Fincher because now he's doing a Squid Games America and a Once Upon a Time in America and Hollywood remakes. So I don't know. But anyway, Chris Sanders will be back. That's the only movement we've heard on this Lilo and Stitch sequel. We'll see. I'm happy that he's getting a payday and he is actually getting paid for the live action remake. That's really cool. But kind of sucks. Kind of sucks that he's doing this. All right, let's talk about the box office. What's going on? And what happened at least last weekend. I'll talk a little bit what's been happening in general. Um, First off, Superman in America, I believe, did it cross? It might have. It's getting close to Jurassic World Rebirth, which was a pretty big. It's much bigger international, but is closing in on. I think he's about less than 10 million away from Jurassic World Rebirth, which is favorite. Uh, Hold on. George says favorite ice cream flavors now and then. When I was a kid, it was always chocolate. I'm older. I'm usually a mint guy. Um, uh, so usually mint chocolate chip, um, cookie dough, party birthday cake kind of guy. But I used to always be chocolate as a kid because when you're a kid, chocolate ice cream rules. Cheers to you, Jortins. Wrestling isn't wrestling, and Fincher isn't Fincher either. Damn, that's a good one. Sit around. Good for you. Anyway, um, Superman did cross 500 million. It is worldwide 522. It is more of a domestic play. At this point, it's 57.3% domestic. For Jurassic Werewolf is almost the opposite, actually. It's like the opposite gross wise. It's 57% international, which is good. Fantastic Four First Steps made very similar to Superman's first weekend, and is actually started performing like it. It's already at 150 domestic. Holy shit, good for Fantastic Four. It is playing like supposedly Superman is playing to older audiences than Fantastic Four. I'm surprised by that because most of the social media posts I've seen are from older people posting about Fantastic Four. So I'm kind of I obviously that's not the biggest segment, but I'm curious if like since Fantastic Four and it is based on a '60s comic that was a pretty big deal, if we're actually going to see more longevity because older audiences take longer to get to the movies. Generally, I'm speaking very generally here, and Superman appealed to younger demo, and so that a younger demo, so they will come out sooner. But this summer box office is more based on the weekdays than previously, so I am curious what's going to happen there, but we're seeing that with both Superman and Fantastic Four, and they're sort of both similar, like kind of playing the day thing similar. It's a little less than what Superman was doing in its first couple days, weekdays, but it's still doing pretty well. I know people have said like, "Oh, Disney didn't expect this," and they thought it would be worse, but I think at this point, I think they're just like glad people are still watching superhero movies. But I don't think they knew because Fantastic Four is such a up and down thing. Well, they made a solid movie. However, my one thing, and I keep forgetting to tweet this something. Here's the thing I thought after I saw it. Um, what does Brad Bird think of Fantastic Four First Steps? Is anyone else curious about that? If he wants to, if you know Brad Bird, if you want to come on the show and tell me, please let me know. But like for real, if Brad Bird, I would like to know what he thinks of Fantastic Four First Steps. Just saying there are other box office stories. One, this Indian film. Why what? Why is it not on here? Sierra Sierra Saiyaara. I know there's been a lot of hype in it. It actually did better. Why is it not on here that it would be better? That's weird. Anyway, I heard it was doing better the second week than the first week. Maybe there was a misreporting. But it's an Indian film that's doing insanely well, actually, box office wise. And then we have oh, the other thing is Oh Hi, which I'm seeing a lot more support for, as well as Sorry Baby. So we're seeing a lot of like bubbling up, and especially like the strengthening of lower films in the release schedule. We're also How to Train Your Dragon still holding on. Eddington is really crashing. I saw that this past week, but it's really not holding very well. And yeah, that's do I? I thought I had more, but I don't think I do. Um, oh, the other thing that was interesting, apparently, from in the 20 years since the first big studio Fantastic Four, it made 50 something million. But if it was up to, adjusted for inflation now, it'd be like 90 million. So that film is a lot bigger than I kind of think. But we'll see what the deal is there. But I am curious how Fantastic Four is going to do overall. I think that one will play better for older audiences because it is a period piece and other things like that. But I do think it's interesting how this year is playing out. It's been day usually in summer's more the weekend thing, and winter box office is more the day thing. And now we're seeing it be a lot different, although days mattered still and did better in summer than like the fall or something. This is like stuff we really haven't seen in a while. So it does seem like every blockbuster is picking up steam, but it's also people have more time off. People are like, oh, it rained and we're at the beach, or I'm too sunburned. What do I do? And you go to the movies, and I think that's really working out for it. So, all right, this is so many trailers. This is basically the trailer section. And we're gonna go through it, and I have two. One thing about a personal thing for Goat, and a thing I learned because of Goat, but we'll talk about that later in this section, I guess. There's a trailer for the second Spinal Tap movie. The fact that I'm seeing this trailer, we're seeing this trailer now, and this movie comes out in September. Not a good sign, guys. This is not going to be good. I didn't laugh that much at the trailer. I don't get good vibes. I'm not sure if I'll see it or not. I don't want to see a bad Spinal Tap 2. I mean, I know they made a concert movie in the 90s that never got great reviews, or was a concert VHS or something. So I don't know. I don't know. It is the first like Christopher Guest type movie, even though I think Rob Reiner is directing or something. But I'm still like, I'm a little unsure, but we'll see. I hope it works out. But like, I don't know. The new trailer for One Battle After Another. I've seen a couple trailers since last show, and one was like released on their YouTube channel and unlisted, but then posted in places, which is an odd release strategy. I'm excited for this movie. It looks like another Incoherent Vice from Paul Thomas Anderson, and it looks fun. I know they spent a lot on it, and people are saying it's not going to make money, so I hope it works out. It is the cornbread nose. But anyway, I'm excited for that. I did see the trailer on the big screen before Fantastic Four. It was cool at this cool Virginia theater. It's like the Ale House or something. It was interesting, but like you order your food. It's like a draft house, but you order at the bar, and then you can't order during the movie, which I was like, I kind of like that more. But anyway, there's a trailer for Blue Moon, which is the Richard Linklater movie about I think it's like Rogers and Hammerstein or something, or some duo, and they're beginning as the one guy left a previous duo, and Ethan Hawke's part of the previous duo, and Margaret Qualley's there, and so it looks like a fun little like Rachel Wagner, who friends with, and she talked about more like rom coms and stuff. She was very hyped for it. It doesn't look like my kind of movie, frankly. It looks more like we're getting the Linklater who made that Orson Welles movie that was kind of a little too mothbally for me. But Ethan Hawke looks very good, and good for him and all that stuff. Uh, I saw the Avatar trailer. I did see in the box. Oh, Twisted Metal 2 came out tonight on Peacock season 2. I didn't know. I've never watched that show, but that looks fun. Thank you, Jortunes, for your giving me some energy. Cheers to you, man. Sit around though. Wait, sit. But thank you, Jortunes. I really appreciate it. I would like to watch it. I don't have Peacock. If I did, I would watch that. We're getting two link letters. What's the other one? I'm glad to you. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting. No, I think the best. Look, there are inappropriate Spinal Tap jokes. Particularly when it's funny, the Sabrina Carpenter thing made a lot of people talk about that. I don't know. We'll see. I don't have a good feeling. Anyway, I saw the Avatar trailer in theaters. I thought it looked good. There was nothing that like all the stuff looked neat, but I am a little like I think it made hey Major Mekuzawa. I think it made everybody go oh yeah Avatar, but right. He's about the making of Breathless. See that I'm a little interested in. That seems cool. I'd love to watch a movie about the making of Breathless. Um, it looked fine, but I do feel like Avatar is like a thing for me, like Stranger Things, where it's very popular, but I just do not think about it until it's out, and then I'm like watching it all and really into it, and then when it's over, I don't think about it again. Like I liked Avatar too, and I thought Sigourney Weaver's that was actually a Discord general question was whose performance by an adult when they play a kid that was really great. And Sigourney Weaver played like a 12-year-old and was like, you don't even know because of the tech and stuff. And I like certain aspects of it, but I just like, it's not like a thing I ever reference or something. I don't know. I don't really have an issue with it being as popular. I think the finale of the second one was legitimately very good. But at the same time, I don't know. I do feel like there's nothing in it that wowed me, but I will try to see it in a great theater and all that. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll go. It's just like I don't know. I think that a lot of people are like, okay, That's kind of, I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm just like, all right, well, we'll go back again. The Eyes of Wakanda trailer was interesting. I noticed it got bumped up to earlier in the month. I'm not exactly sure why. To me, if you have a year of no MCU, you could have paced this out. I was surprised it's a limited series. I didn't realize that. Maybe they said that and I missed it. I'm gonna watch it. I don't know if I'll do a review or maybe I'll do a short or something. We'll see. The Predator Badlands trailer. That looked really great. With Elle Fanning, or the voice of from Totoro. We rewatched Totoro at the beach, and I was like, it's like Elle Fanning from My Neighbor Totoro. I like the cool idea of her as a Newman, the robot from Alien Romulus, with the Predator and all that stuff. It looks really cool. We also learned that Arnold Schwarzenegger did sign off on him being in the end of Predator Killer of Killers. It is crazy that the Predator franchise is actually like in a good place now. It feels so weird. I'm like, wow, it kind of hasn't been in a good place since like the first movie until recently, and now it's like really good. So I am hyped for it. I love even how they did the title is my kind of shit. So I'm excited. It looks really cool. I'm curious how the movie with only one person really speaking is gonna work, but I'm down, man. I'm down. Um, got another Frankenstein trailer. This just looks like, Del Toro's Frankenstein with some Crimson Peak uh, production design. Let's go. I don't really. I am curious, like much like his Pinocchio, what he's going to do with the Frankenstein tale. I don't think it's going to just be Frankenstein. I think he will have something to say with it, particularly about technology, particularly what he said at Comic Con about you can't be creative with the fucking app. And I was like, well, you can. You just, you need more than just the app, but I get what he meant. Anyway, I don't think I need to sell the thing. All right. Fixed. I'll say this. The Fixed trailer looked good to me. I'm down for Fixed. It just looks like a gross movie. It looks like an animator who had to make more Hotel Transylvanias than he probably wanted to, and is needs to get this out of his system. Good for you, Gendy. I'm here for Gendy doing whatever he wants, but this is an extreme. But I still love that everyone's like uncomfortable about it and has to watch it. I love it. I'm still in love with it, man. Let's do it. Well, it didn't. But didn't Kenneth Branagh try to adapt the book, and that was not anyway. Well, you're right, Cornbread, about the Wayland Utani is not just from Alien Romulus. I'm just there's more of a connection between that kind of robot to Romulus than they did have other robots, but the eye thing and anyway, whatever. Sorry. All right, so the goat trailer. One, I have questions. So it's a goat playing basketball, but you're insinuating that the goat is the greatest of all time, but like there's no one who is the greatest of all time. So it's just a goat playing basketball, but not the greatest goat. I'm confused about that. Second, that was a term created by oh, it deviated a lot. Okay. I'm curious. Maybe I'll rewatch. I didn't like I had to watch that in film school. I didn't like that fucking Brano one. That sucked. Um sorry. LL Cool J should be in it because he came up with the term goat, and I'm like, give that man a cameo. Like I didn't see his name listed in the cast, and I actually do have an issue with that. But there's two things. One, I didn't know. So like, okay, I learned this on Twitter. So like, furries are racist. Did everyone know this? Like, I just thought, they're furries. They should be accepting of things because they wear fursuits and shit. But like, they're like race. Did you guys know they're like racist furries? I didn't know. I didn't know this. I never thought about it. But now I'm like, okay, wow, I didn't know that. That's a big that was a big learning moment for me. I didn't know they had a thing about that. So, I don't know. I'm not like I was the one animation person who didn't start their Zootopia review with like, oh, the furries are gonna love this. So I'm not as in that world, I guess. But LL said it. His album's called "Goat Greatest of All Time" in the '90s. He did come out. No, it's like legitimately he came out anyway. But yes, I didn't know. I didn't know furries were racist. You know, I didn't really. I never thought about it. Now I'm like, man, my opinion of furries has actually gone down. I don't think about it much, but now I'm like, might be a racist in the first suit. Never thought about it. Anyway, The other thing is one of the co-directors, Adam Rosette, I did actually go to school with, and we do follow each other on social media. So I look cool. I don't want to say anything bad on it because I know he watches me sometimes. Supposedly, I've heard before. I'm not sure, but anyway, good for him. He worked on like Dogman and like a bunch of. I forgot. I didn't realize how much. I knew he worked on Orion in the Dark, but I don't keep up with all his credits and stuff because I know he worked at DreamWorks and now I guess this is Sony. But good for him. That's really cool. But yeah, I went to school with like one of the co-directors, so that's pretty neat. Maybe I'll ask him. Uh, but yeah, I was like, oh, good for him. It looks cool. It looks cool. I heard people like dunking on it, no pun intended, before, but I was like, it looks neat to me. I don't know, but we'll see. But hey, good for him for doing that. It looks very well co-directed, at least so far. So um, I'm proud of him. But it's kind of crazy. Someone I can name, and if I met him, he would be like, "Oh, hey, Jim, what's up?" kind of thing. So we're not best. I haven't spoken to him in a very long time, but we do. Anytime I see him on a social media thing, we follow each other. So we're that close, I guess. But I was like, "Oh, neat, cool." All right, we have four more trailers. So I saw this War of the Worlds trailer with Ice Cube. And it's like people are calling. I've heard people call it a Malcolm Rampart. Where'd you come from? Said read argument from a number of people that gaming's obsession with graphics and extensions influence its new interest in editing movies. That's interesting. I would say that's huh. I think that is sort of a I would agree to an extent. First off, cheers to you, Malcolm Rampart. Um, but I think hmm I would. I mean, I would. I would be interested if you could send me that article. I would be interested to read it. But I do think that's sort of the same thing. I was sort of. I don't know if you were here earlier, Malcolm, but uh, um, no, it's okay. No, like what I was talking about. How like people don't understand the history or something. They just want everything to look like in 4K and all this stuff, and they don't understand the history and the technique behind it. And I do think like I understand the from just what you're writing there, the sort of argument behind it because there are people who want things aesthetically look good but don't understand why things aesthetically used to look good in the past. Thank you for being here, Dan. Happy birthday again, man. Um, uh, but yeah, I understand that. All right, so War of the Worlds. Everyone's calling this the React War of the Worlds version. I think what they're trying to do is make searching like where everything, the whole mystery takes place on a screen but War of the Worlds. In that sense, it's like, okay, I can sort of see where you're going here. But here is my thing that I noticed from this trailer. Oh, I'm sorry, Malcolm Ripper. Well, I'd be interested to see the tweet at least, but I sort of get what you're saying there. What was I gonna say? Also, so yeah. So I noticed this thing, and it's all about like data is the biggest resource and all this stuff and all this, and Ice Cube's seeing people and being the surveillance guy. Here's the thing about this. If they're like he's only in one room and he's there and he's getting all this information and no one else is there and they're like data is really important, it can be manipulated. um is the twist that there isn't a War of the Worlds, much like the Orson Welles radio program, and he comes out and like nothing happened and it was all like a weird AI thing or something, like a weird computer program, and his daughter's not in danger and his son's not in danger and there was no War of the Worlds and they tricked him just like the Orson Welles thing. I feel like there is enough clues in the trailer that that the twist is nothing happened and he was bamboozled, and they keep and throughout the movie they keep coming up with reasons for him to stay in the room and none of it's real because there's no indication that he goes out of the room. So if you're stuck in the room and all you're seeing from your screen and you just trust everything you're seeing in your screen, wouldn't that be fake? Anyway, if it does that, it'd be cool. Sorry if I spoiled this movie that I haven't seen, but I did figure out the village twist before I saw that. Not that that was a good movie, but that's what I'm saying. Sorry if I did that, but I just like that's what I think. The long story short trailer looked cool. I'm very excited for that show. It's cool that Netflix is really behind that creator. I think it's neat. The Pokemon Aardman trailer looks really great as well. I'm really curious how what they're going to do with that. I like we were watching those DC superhero um, DC Nation shorts again, and they're a lot of fun. My kids love them again. And I think this has been under talked about. Season 3, I think, or the new season of Beavis and Butthead. The Beavis and Butthead reboot comes out a month after the King of the Hill reboot. I'm not sure how that's possible. Mike Judge seems very busy, but good for him. And yeah, and that's all for Okay. Oh, we don't have that many things, but we do have a lengthy obit. Okay, definitely running long. I hope everyone's still with me. Um, Wait, Telegram article calling the Spielberg Royal World's too dark and depressing, which is funny. I don't, I don't know. I saw the Spielberg Royal of the Worlds, and I was watching like a ton of old movies, and I didn't actually like his War of the Worlds that much when I first saw it. I haven't watched it since. And I know so many millennials like go like, "Oh, it's about 9/11 and all this stuff," and like, I don't know. I haven't really gone back in. I need to do that at some point. Oh, the Beavis and Butt has been sat for a while. It's been done. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. All right, let's talk about some Wonder Woman directing rumors and what's going on with that. We this is probably the last major thing before the obit section, which is going to be lengthy for obvious reasons. Wonder Woman director. We know that the writer of Supergirl, who is a woman, who was hired to write the Wonder Woman movie, and they are trying to figure out the Wonder Woman movie now. That's obviously one of the big three. I do feel as much as people are like, well, James Gunn gets to pick his Batman, all this stuff. If I was James Gunn and I was doing the DC stuff, I would hold off on Batman because, much like how the MCU can wait for X Men, you still have a big movie. You still have that card you can play 10 years later. And Batman, like whenever Matt Reeves is done, you can bring out Batman. You know what I mean? So like to me, like I don't think he should. I know he hasn't said anything, but that's what I think. Anyway, so one thing about these Wonder Woman director rumors is what happened with Supergirl is Craig Gillespie got it, and everyone thought it was going to be a female director, and it wasn't. It seems like James Gunn will not just hire a female director; he will fire what he feels is the best director for the job. I think a lot of people are saying Wonder Woman's a little different. However, the rumor list includes a lot of dudes. But also has female directors. I think any female superhero is going to have female directors in the running. But what we're seeing right now, the ones I thought were the best and most likely, I wrote it because there's like a lot people are rumored and stuff. Was Joe Cornish was in there, which I'm always interested in that like he still gets considered for stuff because it's been a while, even for the kid who would be king. Um, and that's like even though like I'm like okay, I don't know if anyone's still talking about Attack the Block or the kid, but I know he does a lot of studio rewrites and stuff like that. Also, I hear a lot of Craig Gillespie did Supergirl because people are like, supposedly Supergirl worked out very well. Nobody has seen it, and there's no test screenings, but that's the talk at this time. That Craig Gillespie did a good job, and obviously James Gunn would know that since he runs DC. The other ones, Catherine Bigelow is really being considered. I think Catherine Bigelow with I don't know how her Netflix is going to turn out. I think she would be a really good choice. She's also like fairly smart director. I think if she was going to do a big movie like that, it would be a fairly tight movie. She knows how to do it, but I don't know. And Lee Janik, who did Fear Street, who I also think would do a good job. But if we're being real, thanks, Cordred. If we're being real, I think Joe Cornish is probably who I think is the best director. But I think Wonder Woman's probably the most prominent female superhero, and I sort of think I would give it to Bigelow. I think Bigelow would be Embla. I remember. I think she should have done X Men back in the day. She would have made an amazing X Men. I think, to be honest, I think it's like to me, I would be like, what is your take on it? How much? I think she should be the choice. I think you can get Catherine Bigelow to be the Wonder Woman director. She's the first female director to win Best Director. She's, the Hurt Locker, Point Break. Like, she has enough classics in her filmography. She's supposedly coming back with the Netflix movie. Is that this year or something? I forget. But bring her back. Let her do another big movie. You know what I mean? Like Zero Dark 30 was great. She's made a lot of great movies. Like, let her. She can do it. We know she can do it. You know what I mean? It's just like, and I also think, sorry, I also think having the same director do two female movies like that is not going to work out for a cinematic universe. Like, do not get the same director who did Supergirl to do Wonder Woman. I think that's a huge mistake. And Bigelow is different enough in style from Gunn and Craig Gillespie that I think that could really work out for you. Anyway, a few things that will be quick. Supposedly, the Dread Taika Waititi movie is not just interested in doing a Dread thing, also doing a spin-off shows and other stuff. That's the whole idea of it, to like launch Dread more as a franchise. I didn't realize that when I reported on it earlier. I just wanted to bring that up. I still think it's a bad idea for Taika Waititi to do it. I've heard like Mr. Sunday Movies on his podcast, and those two guys were arguing that Taika Waititi's humor might work out for it. I still don't. I'm not in love with it, but whatever. I don't know if you've seen, but it's almost spooky season, and Count Chocula, Boo Berry, and Frankenberry are all Jim Henson Muppets this year. And I think that's actually pretty cool. Maybe I'll get one of them, but if you hadn't seen the trailers and the ads, then bring her back. I have shot a review of that and a going to see thing, and yeah, I think that'll come out soon. And finally, we learned that the Oceans prequel about with Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling is going to be. They're looking at Lee Isaac Chung. A lot of people are calling him a sellout because I don't believe uh, I he hasn't done anything smaller since his Twisters movie, and I'm kind of like, yeah, he seems to be in his big studio era. I hope he comes back to it at some point, but it does sort of suck when you're a director. Minari was really cool, but it seems like he's just like peace and moving on. But you think like he would give us one between, but shit, it's like not. I mean, Twisters was fun, but I was a little disappointed to hear that as well. Okay, so we lost a lot of people, and I don't always do an obits thing, but I felt very. I feel like it's warranted. First off, Hulk Hogan. I think Hulk Hogan. I don't know how I feel about that guy, particularly with the Gawker stuff and taking Peter Thiel money from hurting wrestling. I'm not a big wrestling guy. I do feel like of all the people in sports, there's probably no one who tarnished their legacy more than what he did. Um, I'm a little like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's a bit of a Stan Lee figure where I don't think wrestling would be what it is today without him. But the decisions he's made and the racist stuff he said and like the Gawker thing and like making sure wrestlers didn't have a union is supremely bullshit behavior. And people who, like, I saw somebody who, like, some celebrity was praising him as, like, his idol since he was a kid, and people, like, basically told the guy, like, Hulk Hogan sucks, and then he, like, took it back. So I don't speak ill of the dead, but, like, he did enough shitty things. It's like, man, dude, you really. I remember when he was a big thing, and he was a huge guy, but okay, I'll give Embla to you right. He was very good in Gremlins too. I'll give him that. Great as he was amazing. That was the best. If he'd only done Gremlins 2, awesome. Here, I need some water. Okay. I want to talk about um so I was born in the early 80s. Oh yeah, my birthday's on Saturday. I'm turning 42, so I'm actually going to watch the what's it, Hitchhiker's Guide, but the BBC version because I thought I'm turning 42, I should do it. I'm not watching that fucking 2005 bullshit. So, and the BBC one's hard to get now, and I'm gonna work on getting a copy tomorrow. But like, I think I'm cutting together some Daily Motion videos. But it's like that one was very available when I was a kid, and now it's like not. Anyway, um, but I like the Hitchhiker's BBC one more. It's a little more fun than that. I don't know. Maybe the Joseph one was not that bad, but I don't remember anybody liking it. Anyway, um, but yeah, I figured, hey, if you're turning 42, you might as well do the hitchhiker thing. But Malcolm Jamal Warner died this past week. He was Theo on the Cosby Show. Obviously, the Cosby Show is a bit tainted, but I will say this: when I was a kid, who I thought was a responsible older brother was Malcolm Jamal Warner. I When I was a kid, I didn't see the earlier ones because I was super young and stuff. Uh, um, so I didn't see those really. I saw them when I was older, pre all that shit. But I did sort of always look up to him a lot, and I always thought he was a cool, responsible guy. And it's sad to see kind of a major figure go. And man, he was like in the early seasons, like I know it's weird to talk about the Cosby Show in a positive light, but the way he would set up Cosby, he was a great straight man to a degree that like I know those scripts had just sections like Cosby rants and he would say funny stuff. But that first episode where he says that whole thing about how he can't learning's hard for him, and then Cosby like comes back, I was like, that is one of the greatest sitcom setup shut like oh my god, just hilarious. Like some great early season Cosby Show moments are because Malcolm Jamal Warner knew how to set him up so Cosby could knock him down. Just really like I don't think we give straight men enough credit in comedy invading the duo thing, not the yeah whatever. But I do think he did a very you know I know this might be a weird thing to praise him for that, but I thought he was a great actor on the Cosby Show. I know he did other stuff, but I don't know. I always looked up for him, and it feels still feels sad. It feels weird that he's gone. I don't know. Does feel like a major figure in my life is gone, and that's sad that it happened. That he drowned and all that stuff. I feel bad for him. So. Sorry. Chuck Mangione, who we all know from King of the Hill, which is also said we're losing so many people before the King of the Hill reboot comes out. RIP to him. I don't know much about him other than King of the Hill, but I always liked him. And finally, thanks, Corvette. Ozzy Osbourne. A lot was written about that fucking reality show. And look, I liked that show when it was at the beginning. But I want to say this about Ozzy. Oftentimes with Ozzy, we don't talk about what he did for musical history. And that's what I'm going to fucking do right now. First off, he was in Black Sabbath. Music in general would not be the same without Black Sabbath. The first album, and I think Paranoid is maybe the third or something, are two of the most influential metal albums of all time. Seriously, seriously, check those out if you haven't. The other thing, and I want to bring this up as well, what he did with Randy Rhoads changed so much. Like Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen, 80s rock and roll would not be what it is. But I'm gonna be for real about this. Like, listen to fucking hell. What was that? He has the Osborne Randy Rhoads. Listen to those Randy Rhoads albums. Okay, god damn it. I want to say I'm right now. I think it's was it Tribute? The albums he worked on were pretty insanely influential. Blizzard of Oz, I think, is a pretty big deal. Diary of a Madman also, but I would say those first two albums, and also Towson, Maryland, is where Randy Rhoads made his is made his American first live debut, is at Towson University. So congrats to that. But I will say, if you're like, where do I start with Ozzy? And I just want to listen to Crazy Train. Listen to Blizzard of Oz. Diary of a Madman is also good. You're doing the solo stuff, but all of Ozzy's Black Sabbath run is good. But the first Black Sabbath album and Paranoid, those two albums are great. I would highly suggest listening to them. There's very few figures in musical history that are influential as what Ozzy did with just like those 3 or 4 albums. It's honestly incredible. I know I'm talking about what Randy Rhoads did, but Randy Rhoads wouldn't be what he was without Ozzy Osbourne. I know he did other stuff and there's other albums and there's a lot of material, but 100% here, like I'm literally serious. Like Blizzard of Oz, first Black Sabbath album, and the Black Sabbath Paranoid are 3 of the greatest rock and roll albums of all time. and three of the most influential ones. And don't make Ozzy Osbourne just a like pop culture figure or all that stuff. I love that musical legacy. I grew up with that musical legacy. There's a reason he got to the place to do that reality show. I don't care that he set up Trump. That it was really a thing that got way out of control, and Sharon took too much lead. Well, MT, you know what really happened with the Osbournes? To be real with you, MTV never signed a contract with them until the show was a hit, and then Sharon Osbourne is a smart manager and fucked them over. But MTV was bad at business. That is why that happened the way it did, if we're being real. However, it's like that show's like fine. I don't, it's like, who cares? Reality shows don't age well, obviously, but listen to those three if you need to know. That's what I'm telling you. Ozzy Osbourne was one of the greatest rock and roll singers of all time. He went out 2 weeks ago before he died with one of the highest grossing tribute concerts of all time. Fucking awesome. Fuck yeah, man. Anyway, sorry. That was, I don't know. I mean I knew he was getting older, but it's just like it's sorry. What a what a crazy dude. Bit the head off a bat. All right. It is getting late, but we are running long. So, yeah, MTV was always. To be honest, I don't mind that Sharon fucked them over because if you hear what how they treated people is just like anytime you heard about what all the hoops the VJs went through and how little they were paid and all that stuff, like they were not great at business. Anyway, but Crazy Train is great. Parent like just go into those three albums. Just do yourself a favor. You will be better for it. All right. Hello Rocket Lomax. I'm going to take a break. Then we will talk about bullet time. Then we'll do questions, and then maybe at some point, well, I'll go to bed. But until then, I'm going to talk about bullet time after the break. Thank you all for being here. I'm sorry we're running long. Thank you everyone who's done super chat and all that stuff. I'll be where's my fucking I'll be right sorry. I'll be right back after Ace to Win Writer's amazing little thing here. I'll be right back, use the bathroom, and then we'll finish up. Thank you all for being here. I'll be right back. Sorry. Thank you for being here, Ramsey the Artist, and have a good night. What about Bond 26? What are you talking about? There's another. Is there some about Bond 26? What are you talking about? Hold on. I want to look this up with this image up. Bond 26. Oh, this happened 2 hours? I missed this. Most acclaimed. Who is it? Oh, Stephen Knight? Eh, he could do better. I didn't see that, so thank you for saying something. But no, I wasn't. I'm not impressed. But anyway, I'll be back. Sorry. All right. Sorry, I don't want to take a long. Uh, um, it's okay. I'm actually not feeling it so much because I actually got a good amount of sleep last night, which is good. I think there'll be some tomorrow, by the way. Probably a short. Um, I'm doing it right, but we'll see. Okay. Let's see. Yes, I guess if you want to do a super chat and you're still here, we this is the. Sorry to bring it up as much as I have, but if you can, it would be appreciated. We'll talk about bullet time, and then we'll do questions. Yeah, I don't know the Bond 26 thing. The only thing I could really add to that. I'm sorry I missed that somehow. I'm sure someone sent it to me, and I just because it happened after I left, putting kids to bed and stuff. But the only thing is, if they do have a writer, that means that they will soon talk about casting once a script. I think they were going to have a script delivered, but maybe before that. So I think the next thing is casting. So we'll see what's going to happen. Maybe I should release my how to reboot James Bond thing before they do that. But we'll see. All right, Bullet Time. This was a pilot that came out around San Diego Comic Con. It was created and written by Eddie Alcazar. Alcazar. It is very, very 90s animation inspired. I'd specifically say like something that could play on Nickelodeon. Particularly everyone's saying it's like Ren and Stimpy and Rocco's Modern Life. Let's not mince words. It is very Spunko, but like a girl said in my college about people comparing SpongeBob of being a Spumco ripoff, she said, "Well, it's not like Spumco's using it very well right now anyway, so who cares?" And you know what? Truer words. It's a quote I think about all the time. It's like it's not like they're using it, so who cares? And I agree. But anyway, it is about this character, Bullet, who is a dog, who looks like Spuds McKenzie, if you know who that is, and he needs to play a video game, I guess, in a tournament. He plays it, and all sorts of crazy things happen while he's playing the game, as well as the game is done in a different animation style from the animation, which is actually really cool. It looks very inspired by the video game Clay Fighter, if you know what that is, which I thought was actually cool. I think this very much it actually reminded me of it maybe this is insulting, but it actually reminded me of well, okay, it reminded me of a um it reminded me of a Ren and Stimpy like show. If someone in the chat can mention it, uh, I will leave it towards the end maybe, but it reminded me of very odd 90s animation and how gross that stuff could be. But I also think one of the things about 90s animation that I know, like, people are like, back in my day things were better and all this stuff, but here's what really that stuff did is it really, I think, a lot of times uh a lot of times oh sorry, because of people say it's better and all that stuff, but what happened in 90s animation is 80s animation was really not very good, and that was sort of like it was a very quality decrease. And it seems like 90s animation like came back with a fucking vengeance, and the animation in this is pretty crazy. I know it was done by a Ren and Stimpy director, Bob Joquiz, I believe, and a lot of like 90s animation people. Apparently, oddly enough, this feels like a very animator pro animation short, but it's Eddie Alcazar who made it. Had never worked on animation before and needed to hire people to explain that language to him, and this does not feel that way. So I gotta say to him, like, mission accomplished. I rarely see someone who's not in the animation world do this good of a fucking job. I don't know if he went to the animators and said, "Go off, do your thing," whatever he did, but it fucking worked. I don't care how he decided the thing. I also think I've seen so many video game things, video game movies, and all this stuff. It's like kind of, I think in the next decade, it's going to become bigger and bigger as Minecraft's going to end up being, it is the second highest grossing movie of the year right now. but I've rarely seen a video game thing that shows what happens to you while you play the game. Like conceptually on a level, it's like he has to drink liquid to keep going. He's being, he eats a weird thing off the floor, like how it's affecting him, how the game is, if he's into it, if he's falling asleep, all this stuff. And like I've really rarely seen a movie that really does. I don't think I've. Is there something? You guys can correct me on this, but I think it's an interesting concept. At least it's not happening a lot. Sometimes you see people go, "Yeah, cool," or react and shit. But like I've never seen like it done like visually in the way this does. I thought that was actually really interesting, and I want to give it its props for that because I thought that was a cool concept wise. Like what has happened to you while you're playing the video game? Do you need an energy drink? Like even on that level, it was actually pretty fascinating. I know that seems a little silly or something, but it's like stuff happen. You could be playing a video game and your mom's like bothering you to do the dishes, and you're fighting this level and stuff. And but I thought that was a really cool idea, um, uh, on a concept level, and it's definitely very gross. And it feels so 1995. I wrote this down. It feels so 95. It feels like Wildcats is gonna play later in this lineup with Skeleton Warriors. Real 90s kids remember. But yeah, it remembers like why 90s animation blew up the way it did because the animation was different and it was interesting and it was weird and people were surprised by that and didn't expect it and stuff like that. So like it came out of nowhere for a lot of people and it felt different. And this feels different, but it feels very honoring in the way. But I do think, and Eric Bauza was Bullet and Tracker Todd. I guess that's the fish bulb guy and all that stuff. He did a great job as a voice actor. However, I want to say this about it. I really like this, and I would like to see more of this bullet time thing. It's a little confusing because bullet time is like a thing in the Matrix, and this has nothing to do with that. And the name is a little confusing on that level because when you think bullet time, you think of Neo dodging the thing, and this feels like years, a couple of years. But this feels more the era of Johnny Mnemonic, not the era of the Matrix. But here's what I want to say: like the animation is amazing. It really surprised me on that level. I thought it really popped in certain levels there. But the thing about this is, I think this feels very pro animator and pro animation. But sometimes when you do this, this is far more about the animation and how it works than the writing. In fact, when I watched it the second time, I appreciated the writing more and all that. But I didn't really fall in love with Bullet as a character. And if my advice for like, I know this is an independent pilot, and I know he's trying to make up a cool deal with the network so he can retain rights and stuff. I'm totally for that. That's not, but like the reason people like Bluey is because they like that family. They like the dad. They like the mom. The reason they like the Simpsons is they like the characters. There's like, what is it about Bullet? Like, I like Ren and Stimpy. I like the animation, but I like them as characters. Same with Rocco, all that stuff. I just, nobody in this, like, Bullet's the only one who pops out at me. The other characters, I barely understand what the fuck their deal is. And like Bullet is like what I love the design. I think it's like killing it. This is a great like proof of concept. But like if you're gonna do more, like sell him to me as a character. And I feel like a lot of these indie pilots, it's like the script writing is not as there as it honestly could be. And I feel like this one has so much promise and is so smart and is a loving tribute to the 90s and very much gets why that animation was the way it was in a way that I've not seen anything else do it. I've seen people make tributes to it, but this is like a full on like love letter, but also understood the like grammar and the dynamics of it. But like, please give this some real character development and stuff and make me love Bullet and love to see it. It seems like the creator loved his dog who's named Bullet and made this into something as a tribute, but make us love that character. And then you have a cool show. You do not have that right now. But like I do really like this a lot, and I'm probably going to recommend it to people. But I really hope they understand, like, you know, I think sometimes animation quality and writing, sometimes it doesn't always match up, and there's some things that are badly animated but written well and so forth. But, like, seriously, please do it because I would like this to be closer to the 90s thing. I would not like it. I'm surprised nobody guessed this. I do not want this to be the Schmookums and Meat funny cartoon show in terms of quality, where I don't know what happened on this. But like, let's not make this the Schmookums and Meat funny cartoon show. Let's make this something different. And I hope the possibility is there for it to do it. But right now, as like a pilot and a proof that he could do it, I think I think it could get there, but we're just not there yet. But I do think this is really promising and really well animated. Did a great job. And of the indie pilots I've seen, this is probably one I like the most that I can remember. And I really hope this becomes something. Good luck to everyone working on this. You did an amazing job. But I do feel like if you're going to continue doing this in the show, make me love the character, because there's a reason some of these cartoon characters um, stay around, and it's not because the animation was good. It's because the writing and the story and the characters were there. And please think about that if you continue, because you have a really good thing going, and I would like it to be around longer. I don't want it to just be a promising pilot. Then 5 years time, I wonder what happened to. I really think they have a cool thing here, and please make into characters, because here's hoping, man. I really hope it works out. But congratulations, that was Bullet Time is a great pilot and a great animated short, and I feel happy about the future animation if this is something that's coming out. I'm surprised nobody got Schmookums and Meat, but I guess that is obscure as an obscure. When I Googled it, even Google was like, what? All right, let's do questions. I'm going to write questions below. This is the end of your. We didn't get to. I don't think we got to the. Yeah, we didn't quite get to the 20 marker, but if we get there before this ends, we'll do the flashy lights. All right. Oh, sorry, I didn't cornbread. I did want to talk about that, and I think it got lost in this long ass show tonight. All right. Let's do the Patreon questions. Austin, who did not make it tonight, but said, "Hey Jim, likely asleep. Good show. My question: how was your beach vacation? It was good. We had fun. Virginia Beach. My shorts are actually say Virginia Beach. That was my. I'm wearing shorts. That was my souvenir. Was shorts. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I didn't talk about Airbud. God damn it. Could Nathaniel Vega said, could Creech beat Airbud in a basketball game? Yes. I think he could. Because it's Airbud. I like that there's a Lego sequel to Airbud. That's very interesting to me. I just find it bizarre. I did see people say they should make it a chocolate to see people say weird stuff, which I thought was funny. Merzel Torres asks, have you heard that Henry Selick's The Shadow King has been revived? It was a stop motion Pixar project that was canceled back in 2011 due to budgeting. There are models built which eventually were destroyed and test animation available online. I didn't hear about that, but I hope it works out because I love Henry Selick. Good for him. Sinram said, got a favorite Joel Schumacher film. I will look. I haven't seen. I don't know his shit as well as I should. So I want to be honest about. Let's see. Settle Flatward, The Client. I don't know if I've seen. It's been a while. I did see A Time to Kill Him. Ooh. I guess Falling Down, but it's been a while. I've actually not seen The Lost Boys. I'm trying to see if I don't see. I guess I saw DC Cabin. That was okay. Did he direct Car Wash? No, he didn't direct The Wiz. Why is the? Did he direct Car Wash? If he did, that's gonna win. Oh, nope, that was just written by him. I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna say Falling Down because that's like it's been a while, but I remember that being the only one I really liked. The Client was. It's been a while as well. Some of these it's been a while, and I've never seen St. Elmo's Fire. I just need to do a 80s teen, 80s teen night and do St. Elmo's Fire and Lost Boys. 80s teen Schumacher. Anyway, thank you very much, Shinran. That's a good question. I hadn't even thought about that. All right. Okay. Cornbread asks, with Warner Brothers releasing. Sorry, one second, it's being weird. With Warner Brothers releasing Minecraft, then Sinners, then F1. Did they release F1? I thought that was an Apple thing. Then Final Destination, then Superman, then laying off 10% of their workforce, proven even if you succeed, you're still screwed. I think that's more of a Zaslav thing because he really doesn't like the Warner Brothers heads, and he's been kind of an asshole about that. And I am surprised because a lot of people are like, "This is an insane slate." I'm gonna drink some energy drink to just keep going. But anyway, I think it's just the people who run Warner's and that whole demerger thing are fucking idiots. And it's like, wouldn't you want them after this year and the success to keep going? But it seems like he just wants to burn it all down for a bonus or something. I know. I do feel like sometimes, often, a lot of people get destroyed so someone can have a fairly mediocre goal. I saw this the Netflix train wreck or whatever about this PI mom show, and that was sort of a big part of that. And I think about that a lot. How it's like you make all these sacrifices and you get knocked down by someone and you see their eventual goal and you're like, oh, for that though, and you're just like, it's just like you have the ambition for that, and it just feels it's like defeating that it happened and it's defeating that that's more defeating that that was the ultimate result. Jortunes, have you seen Firefly? If not, will you ever watch it? I watched a bunch of it at the time. It never spoke to me as much as some people, and I never saw the movie. But I don't know now. I don't know. We'll see. It's like Whedon and like I was into Buffy in the '90s, and at a certain point I got out of it. And whatever. Thoughts on the latest Tron Ares trailer? I think I talked about it last time, but it looks cool. But I'm still like, I don't know. A lot of people were like, "Is this gonna make money?" Like, I am surprised they're putting Tron in theaters again. But I don't know. We'll see. Viento Samurai. Hello, by the way. Is it normal for an adult to enjoy iCarly? I don't see the problem with that stuff. I don't really understand why people get so weird about the iCarly about people watching. I think it's just if you're weird about it, honestly, if you're into it, it's fine. I remember a lot of people of all ages were watching it when I was on because it was kind of one of the weird um, only shows about being a influencer or YouTuber or whatever. Nathaniel Foga, most underrated Weird Al song. My favorite Weird Al song that I listen to a lot is Syndicated Incorporated, which is a parody of a Soul Asylum song, which I don't I've only listened to that song like honestly not that many times, but I love Syndicated Incorporated a lot. So I would say I'm gonna go with that one. I probably talked about it on here, but Black Sax Winkle. Are you really surprised we didn't bring up Schmookums and Meat? I think 5 people online remember it, including me. I thought someone would get it. I don't know. I wanted to have faith that anyone remember the show that nobody watched. It is funny that Disney tried to make their own um um Ren and Snippy show. This is fucking wild, I will say. Okay. Cornbread, did you hear they're re-releasing all the old Mortal Kombat games soon? Are you excited to not buy them? Yes, I am. I mean, that's cool. I like the Mortal Kombat games. Black Saxon, thoughts on Two Stupid Dogs? I think it holds up well. I actually watch it on MeTV Tunes on Saturday nights. I'm a big fan. I actually really like MeTV and MeTV Tunes on Saturday nights. It's like killing it, and they play Two Stupid Dogs, and that show holds up actually pretty well. I will say, I what I've rewatched, I've liked, and they play Freakazoid. I don't get to watch as much Freakazoid, but I do like Two Stupid Dogs a lot. I've been getting to watch that. Emblity, what are your thoughts about the guy who made Who Wants to Be a Millionaire writing the upcoming Bond? I just don't think he's that interesting. To be honest, I'm not really excited. I feel like this Bond is going to be like the Batman Matt Reeves thing, where it's like I'm sure it won't be bad, but it's sort of like not a movement in the franchise we need. You know what I mean? It's like okay, it's like still dark and stuff. Like I don't. I'm a little confused what we're doing here. So whatever. Alveska. Oh, that wasn't a question. Black Sonic Cynical is Cow and Chicken the best Ren and Stimpy clone? I wouldn't call it that, but yes. Let me see that. Georgians, have you seen Used Cars? I haven't. I've been wanting to for a long time. That and Melvin and Howard, I think. Those are like two early '80s movies I've been meaning to see, and it never works out. I need to do it. So thank you for bringing it up. To be honest with you, you're giving me pressure to see it. Embla T. 10 years ago, Rihanna was in a cartoon. She was? Which one? This year, Rihanna is in a cartoon. 10 years ago, there was a movie called Home. Oh, that one. Okay, thank you. This year, we have The Home. What do you think will get 10 years from now? Smurf Home, I guess? Smurf Home. Home Smurf? It's about a Smurf who's in your home. It's like a horror movie. The Smurfs will just be straight horror movies at that point. Question. Last year, I moved on from Spotify streaming and into owning more of my music. Can you name one or two lesser known albums I should add to my collection? Okay. Lesser known. That's a. I like the Luke Clips album a lot. I'd say that's a good one. I actually, one of my favorite albums that nobody talks about anymore is the Langley School's Music Project, Innocence and Despair. I think that is one of the greatest, one of my favorite and greatest albums ever made. Fugazi. I listen to Fugazi's The Argument a lot. I don't know if that's anyway. Yeah, I would say those. Sorry. I hope that's. I'm trying to think if there's any lesser known. Maybe some craft work. 70s craft work. Can't go wrong with that. Dom Marai, how's it going, man? Favorite Rick Baker SFX makeup in a movie? American Werewolf in London, The Nutty Professor, The Grinch, Tim Burton's Planet of Apes. I would go American Werewolf London, probably. I would say that one. I'm pretty sure. Medela Butterfly, what do you think of the Wonder Man miniseries? Will Tiga show up? Tigera? I thought you meant the rapper. If it's cool, one of my favorite comics growing up was a Wonder Man comic, and he does this like him and Rick Jones, where like every time he do the Wonder Bands, they'd switch places, and he times it to do this amazing punch, and it was this awesome splash page. It was one of my favorite splash. I like kept reading that comic and looking at it. So if they can do that comic from the Operation Galactic Storm, which is game sucks, but I have a lot of nostalgia for Operation Galactic Storm. If they do that, I'd love it. And I think you can do a lot of cool things with Leatherman. It kind of an underrated comic, but it was cool at the time. Cornbread, given how shook you were with the racism phrase thing, how does knowing that Sonic the Hedgehog and My Little Pony also have a racism problem? I was aware of the My Little Pony thing because of the Brony thing. I wasn't aware of the Sonic the Hedgehog. I should assume it's everywhere, but I was just surprised because I was like, that's a thing. I don't. But hey, racist got a racist. I guess I don't understand why, but whatever. Bloxy Oxwinkle. Do you do any repair workshop stuff? I'm in the process of replacing my bike brakes and change. It has a huge ass pain. I do. I don't know shit about bikes, so no, I don't. People think I can fix worse stuff than I can, but I would say go to a good bike shop. I'm not a bike person, also. I'm literally the worst person. That's it. I'm sorry, Blacksy. Nathaniel Foga, favorite San Diego Comic Con moment. I mean, the guy saying Jared Leto when Robert Downey Jr. took off the Doom mask is my current favorite. Um, but I do think some of the Avengers stuff. That first um, all the Scott Pilgrim stuff was cool. The first kind of panel when it was like Feige, Edgar Wright, whoever directed Incredible Hulk, and maybe Favreau, I thought was exciting. But I'm gonna go back and say the '90s thing where they showed Youngbloods playing and like Bedrock, I think his name was in the costume and stuff. I that to me was really cool. And in '95 when Mallrats showed up and they had the Batman Forever Batmobile, I would say that deserves to be up there too. Embla T, thoughts on the cryptic first posters for Chris Stuckman's Shelby Oaks now on Neon's page. Okay, let me look at Shelby Oaks poster. I will look at this right now. Okay, it's on our movies. Okay, I mean that looks like a good poster. It looks unsettling. Good job, marketing department. George favorite Studio Ghibli movies. My favorites are usually Spirited Away, Keys, Delivery Service, and Totoro. Are my favorites. Those ones I read visuals a lot. Question: the massively influential indie game Undertale is currently celebrating its 10th anniversary. How has this game, barely heard of and never played, affected you in the last 10 years? It hasn't. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Are you planning on seeing Eddington? Don Merrill still waiting on Bo is Afraid review. Hope you're doing well. I don't know when I'll do Bo is Afraid, and I was hearing about it. I did see Eddington. I haven't filmed the review yet. It will come out soon. Question. Speaking of Weird Al, how about his song Pancreas? What is that? I don't know about that song. I'll listen to it later soon. I'll let you know. Hey, Chan Talks More Wisdom. Thanks for stopping by. Al Vasquez, thoughts on hero versus hero stories? Which heroes fight each other? They can be interesting, but I do feel like there was too many in a row with the Batman v Superman and Civil War, which I think made people sick of that shit. Wait, oh, who's it? William Ullman, how are you going? Having said Eddington, would you agree with Ari Aster that young Mr. Lincoln is the best John Ford? No, I'm not. I'm not. First off, cheers to you, man. Thank you for being here, man. I, I, I mean, I, I don't agree with that. I have seen it, so that's mine are more My Darling Clementine. I know it's annoying, but Searchers. Um, what was the other one? I like Fort Apache a lot, but I don't like that one. I'm more of the but there's a bunch of his I haven't seen. I have seen a lot of his, but he's made so many more movies. But I always go Fort Apache, My Darling Clementine, Stagecoach. They were expendable. I have a lot of fondness for. Um, but yeah, I just don't. I don't know. That was never one of the ones that hit me as much. But good for it. It's an interesting choice for Mr. Ari Aster. Message me about. I would talk to you about. I have a. I don't know how I feel about that. But that's a movie. Cheers to you, man. Thank you for being here. Does that take us to the? Oh, we're 2 cents off. I think we can have the flashy lights. It's an interesting stat there. Okay. Um, Question from the fan flow. Did you hear about the new film Brendan Routh is in called The Ick? It is essentially a Slither with an early 2000s twist as a massive center of iconic bands back in the day. I think it's like a Regal exclusive. I've seen the trailer a lot of times, but I noticed they redid the trailer for Superman, and I was like, hey, good for Brendan Routh. He I wish that guy deserves a little better of a career, but it looks fun. I don't know if I'll get to see it because there's a August is stacked. We got a new Spike Lee. We got Bad Guys 2. We got a Naked Gun. We got like I feel like I'm gonna miss stuff. So I don't think I will, but I did hear about it. Al Vasquez, best X-Men toy, the Big Sentinel or Weapon X. Wolverine was cool. Something like that. I can't. Blackbird. I remember that was a big one Christmas. Okay, question. What do you remember? What do you remember from the final BronyCon that was 6 years ago? Nathaniel Folk, I believe you were there too. The one thing I remember, and I don't think that has become true because Bronies do have quite an ego, particularly when you talk about um, yeah, I don't want to get into that, but it did feel like I never seen a fandom have a convention and everyone knew that was kind of the end. And it's also crazy when you think of the context that was 2019 is crazy, but it did feel like I heard a lot of people saying like I can't do this anymore. This has to be the last thing, and that seems to be general consensus that like I don't think that con would have been what it was had everyone understood that was the last one. I think had they like done it and then it was canceled, I don't think they would have gotten the crowd. But like the whole general vibe was like end of senior year, this is it. I know it continues, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to AC Race Best and everyone who's involved in that, but like, and it took on different forms. But that was like the last major part of it, and the show was ending and all this stuff. So I do actually. It was a interesting vibe, but it was also like there was a lot going on. It was a weird con for me and all that stuff. I did have a good time, but Emblet T, can you build a table? I think I could. I mean, maybe not out of nothing, but plain instructions. Al Vasquez, was Blaze never that relevant in Marvel Comics before the '90s movie came out? Yeah, I would actually. No, what like when it came out, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like I remember people in the comic book store were like, why did this happen? Like nobody. I think the movie has sort of made him bigger. He was a thing, but he was never like a big comic. That was something New Line did. From my understanding, it was people who worked at New Line who wanted it to be that way. So hey, I mean, they got it. Good for them. Al Vasquez, how would have Jared Leto's method acting if he was cast as Doctor Doom? Oh, that would have been horrible. Why is he in so many things? Does anyone like him? Like, I don't. I understand he gets to Mars really fast, but what else does he have? All right, this is gonna be the last question. Um, Cornbread, are you planning? Are you actually going to review the bad guys this time? Do I need to watch that movie to be prepared for you this time or no? I'm Chris Chan was there? I didn't know that. Nathaniel Fogo. That's interesting. I mean, not that I care, but I'm just saying. Wait, hold on. Did Ari Aster really say the best John Ford movie was Young Mr. Lincoln? I'm confused about that. Anyway, uh I'm not gonna talk too much about the bad guys thing. I'm planning something. I will try to have reviews of the other two out. And I have to do something different because almost everyone I know who reviewed that movie had copyright problems because of clips, and we'll see what happens. But I do want to do something, and that's all I'll say. Cornbread. Blade was a thing. I thought he was the half vampire hunter guy. He's made of rocks. What? Oh, a thing. Okay, I see what you did there. All right, that's enough. That's enough. All right, I want to thank everyone for coming out. I'm sorry this is a late show. I think we sort of had to make up for the news of the last one and do this one. And thank you all for sticking around and being as nice as you are. And thank you for the feedback. I think there'll be a thing tomorrow. There will not be anything Saturday because it's my birthday, and I don't want to. I don't want to. Um, but I think next week will probably be on a Wednesday, most likely. Please watch out for the posts and all that stuff. We'll see. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. This I don't know if this is the longest one. I'll check before I go to bed, but and I'll post it on the Discord or something. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for being as cool as you all are. Thank you for the super chats. The Rock. Okay, I want to say thank you to Bloxy Oxenwinkle, Bloxy Oxenwinkle, Jortunes, Jortunes. Was it three Jortunes? Sorry, George. Man, YouTube, you had to. You were okay during the questions, but now okay. Sorry, three Jortunes, one Malcolm Rampart, and William. Oh, William Ullman in the end. Here you go. Wow, you really got in there. Okay, have you seen Please Kill Mr. Kinski, a short documentary director David Schmoller's experience with Klaus Kinski, where one of the producers offered to kill Kinski for insurance movie? I saw that um at first, man, right at the good. Thank you, William Ullman. Cheers to you, man. Cheers to you. I very much appreciate it. I saw it so long ago. I was like near in film school, and I think people were talking, and I was drinking. So did I see that? There's a debate. So I remember liking it, but I don't think I like sat down and watched it. No, watched it with a bunch of film dorks where we all competed film knowledge around each other. Absolutely, but so is that a good way to watch anything? Fuck no. So I don't know. But thank you for reminding me about that. I forgot about that, to be honest with you. But I think it's all like my first year of film school, so a very long time ago. But cheers to you, man. Thank you for coming in at the end there. All right. That's it. We're done. Thank you again, William Melvin. I appreciate it, man. Y'all have a good night. I will see you all later. And I'll see you next week. Enjoy the video tomorrow. And peace out. Subscribe and happy birthday to me, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, see you all later. Thank you for being here.